Welcome to Middle Fingers Up, the show where we hold our heads high and our middle fingers higher. I'm your host, Kieran McKay. Okay, I'm very excited to reintroduce today's guest. You have probably seen him at Just for Laughs, Toronto. He also was a quarter-finalist at the Seattle International Comedy Competition. And he has a comedy special coming out pretty soon with Comedy Bar Records. And you can also catch him performing at the upcoming Asian Comedy All-Stars. All of this, unfortunately, for all of us that don't live in Toronto, is happening in Toronto. But I also want to say, if you can't figure out who this is, he was also on episode 18, Middle Fingers Up to Not Trying, which was the actual title of the episode. And now he's back. It's Jeevin. Jeevin Gill is here. I'm so excited to have him. Welcome.
Hello.
We're in the same room together.
Oh my God. I'm here live. You've upped your game so hard since
Look at this.
episode 18.
Oh my gosh.
That was a Teams chat. You remember that?
That was so long ago. So we're doing good. And you're back. And I feel like we have a lot to catch up on because I think you've done a lot of things in that time between episode 18 and whatever episode this is going to be.
Yeah, I can add. You just talked about all my festivals and stuff. I won the Toronto Comedy Competition too in the same
amazing.
time.
That's
something to add to the thing. But yeah,
that's so cool.
So much has been going on. Yeah.
Hold on. Wait, I have something for that.
Oh yeah. Do you have a? Oh. Do you have a soundboard?
Yeah, I have a couple of things on there. They're silly things.
Oh my God.
I have this one too. If I want to be like those late night people.
You are
early night
50 episodes away from a radio DJ.
I can't wait.
Weather and traffic on the 12, ones and two. Pew, 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 pew.
Right?
Yeah. You were so excited about the soundboard, aren't you?
So excited. I love it. I think I have one more. Let me see what this one is.
Oh,
that would be for you, the comedian.
Yeah,
so every time you tell a joke today, so just think of it. The more jokes you tell, the more I can exercise this finger and press that button.
Yeah, 1998 call. They want their technology and sound effects back. Holy shit. That is
what would be the upgrade to this? Like a fucking 808 drum or something?
That is a classic. I'll give you that. Right? But no, it is. There's an update to that. Do you know on those Instagram, TikTok videos, it's like they'll have like a boof. Like it'll be like somebody's doing a sketch and there'll be like a boof to signify the joke. Like a doof. Like, you know what I'm talking about. You've seen
I don't watch those things. That's my only thing. I'm not cool anymore.
I am heavily addicted.
To TikTok?
To TikTok.
You are, hey?
Oh, it's so bad.
It got you.
It's perfect. It's perfect. They've perfected both sides of social media with that app.
Oh, how so?
Okay, so on the one hand, when it comes to the way you take content in,
yes.
So even with Instagram, the scrolling started with Instagram. It's like scrolling endlessly. But Instagram had all this jumbled, like there was the picture, there was the caption, there was this, there was that on the side.
So much.
TikTok is smooth, barely anything on screen. Just keep swiping through and it'll just be perfectly. And the
what do you think all of our other brain cells do when only the one is being used when we're on TikTok? Like, what do you think they all do? Do they just like go play cards in a corner? Like, are they just like taking a break, or like those zombies in I Am Whatever Legend or whatever that just sit there like not moving?
So when I do this thing where I catch myself after 35 minutes of just sitting, like I'll be like, like it'll be just like a coming out of a trance. Have you ever seen those videos where like people go under hypnosis?
Yes.
And they come out and they're like, I remember everything. Like I remember everything that happened, but what happened? And then that's me on TikTok. And then it'll be like 35 minutes, and then I'll just go, oh, that's messed up. And then I'll just go right back in and another 35.
And you've probably agreed to like go buy something. I'm sure your wife's asked you to go do something. You've like had multiple conversations, and you probably won't remember that.
So much to do. And it's like, it's just the way the time is just like, it just with like by definition time suck.
It's like literally,
it's like if your time was a bag of sand and you just cut a hole in it,
it'd be that.
It's just draining.
Science,
but
straight up.
So good.
But it's worth it because it's hitting all the pleasure centers.
It's hitting all the pleasure centers. And then on the other side, that's what I say, they perfected social media is when you send content out, like I'm not a content creator, but like I make videos or whatever and I put them out, and when they do, they hook you right in the beginning. So when you make a TikTok account, your first 3 videos get pushed out to an audience, and you get, like what they figured out was like, what do the people like? People liked likes and people like views. So they're like, it doesn't really matter. Like, remember back like 10 years ago, getting 1 million views. Oh my gosh. Was like, wow, this got 1 million views.
Yeah, you're a big deal.
Yeah, but like 1 million views is nothing anymore. And what they do is like, they just, anything. For you. Yeah. No, just in the general landscape of things, they make it really easy for everyone to like things. Yeah. And they make it really easy for the views to go up. So your views, your first 3 videos will get like 10,000 views, and it feels amazing. You're like,
you're like, holy shit.
Look at me, 10,000.
I'm going to make it, Mom.
I mean, if you look into it, like if you're on TikTok and you scroll up and somebody scrolls right past, like it's like they don't even watch the video. It starts for a split second and they're on to the next. That counts as a view.
Oh my God.
That counts as a view. Like I'll feel great about a video sometimes. I'll be like, oh, this has 15,000 views. Look at me. And then because I have the ability to look at the actual metrics.
That's like how that Australian breakdancer chick got into the breakdancing competition, probably. That's all she needed votes. Just like people scrolling. They probably didn't even see her like audition tape or whatever.
Wasn't the whole conspiracy theory with her that like her husband was on the committee of selection?
Oh, really? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Fucking nepotism.
Yeah. I like how you have a podcast and you do any research on anything.
I'm like, we'll fact check eventually.
Yeah, you just made up a story. I'm like, I bet that's what happened. I bet that lady made a TikTok and then they just selected her based off of that. And I was like, actually, it was pretty well reported that her husband was on the committee of selection.
I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Classic Alberta voter.
I just did what my neighbor's sign told me to say. Yeah. Vote this party, right? That's what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? So, shit.
Yeah, I've been in Alberta for a couple of days now, hanging out, waiting to do this podcast. That's what
Oh my God. We flew, Jeevan, and this is how, and guess what? I got to like now. Pick you up. Everything. Yeah, everything. We got a driver.
Front row, Flair Airlines.
Everything. You win now. Row 1. Did you hit up row 1?
I hit up row 1. I'll put all that leg room.
So good. Good. You did good. Did you like have to bring a carry-on or did you pay the extra $6,000?
I bought a carry-on. I have a system. I shouldn't put this online in case Flair's listening. But
because they would be. Yeah. Everyone listens to this podcast.
Okay. Here's the thing. You're allowed a personal item for free. Yeah. A personal item is usually a backpack. Yeah. So I have those big hiking backpacks. Oh my God. Which are definitely more of a carry-on.
That's not safe to bring on a Flair airplane, by the way. That's like the weight of that would be like.
I mean, you think my backpack is gonna tip the plane over?
I'm imagining those big, huge ones, but I guess that's not the one you're talking about.
Yeah, even those, they take big luggage on these planes, right? It can handle. I don't know if you've ever seen the jet engine on the side of a plane. It weighs.
No, but I'm watching Lost, and I'm questioning all the times I'm gonna go on a plane.
Is that what happened in Lost when you put a backpack on?
No, but. The plane crashed. Doesn't matter, you know what I mean? But anyways, back to this is bad. Yeah. I should be a better host.
Yeah, terrible.
Let me let you tell a story. I'm like Kanye here.
So basically, what I do is I don't pay for a carry-on. Yes. I say I'm bringing just a personal item. And my my backpack, which is a big hiking backpack, which is the size of a carry-on, on my 6'7" body, looks like a normal backpack. So no one says anything to me. They just go, oh yeah, that guy's wearing a normal backpack. Because it looks like a normal sized backpack. Because normal sized backpacks look tiny on me. So it proportionally works. And then by the time I'm on the plane, no one knows, and I just put it wherever, It's
so true though. It would be like a little mini bag. That'd be so funny. I love it.
Quite a lot. It's worked quite a bit. I'm like,
genius.
Yeah.
The things tall people get away with. Oh. What else would tall people get away with?
I have height privilege. It's great.
Yeah, you do. Actually, speaking of that, I loved that little bit. I just watched it. And can we talk about that?
Yeah. It's gonna be on the new special.
Oh, are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah. No, yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
You just gave me a whole talk down before we started, and I didn't follow any of the rules, and now I'm already like, can we talk about this?
Yeah. Well, there's a joke. Okay, there's a joke on the album about white privilege.
Yeah.
And it's so it's like I compare white privilege to my tall privilege.
Yes.
I am the joke is that I'm taller than I am brown.
Yes.
So like I don't get stopped at airport security.
Yeah.
Because airport security and customs and this stuff, they kind of just like go, hey, how tall are you? And they just get...
They like love you. Like,
they want to talk about that. And they're like, yeah, go ahead. You're fine. Whatever. And they just let me through. Yeah. And if I had my face and beard and skin and I was 5'8", it would have a completely different life.
Oh, yeah. You'd be fucked.
And the thing, and that's true. Because like I'm talking about airports specifically because I'm standing.
Yeah.
So when I drive over the border, I'm sitting. You can't see how tall I am. I get the brown treatment. You know what I mean? But at the airports, I don't get the brown
special treatment. It's like so different.
Yeah. Oh, I listen, I know there's people listening who are short, and I probably shouldn't say this, but like, oh, it's so much better being tall. You guys have no idea. And I'm probably
we don't.
I'm gonna die early, likely, if the studies indicate at all. And it's worth it. I'll just tell you this, it's worth it.
It's that good, hey? It's that good. Wow, on that high ass horse up there.
You know how rich people they just like, no, it's like money doesn't make you happy. Like, it does. I can tell you right now, it doesn't make you happy, but it takes away some things that make you sad. You know?
Yeah. Like, for example, the stress on an airplane, putting your bags in.
Yeah. Oh,
that's always my anxiety if I have to travel alone. I'm like, how the fuck am I going to get my bag up?
Never have to worry about it.
You're probably doing that for everyone.
I do.
You're probably just loading the plane for everyone, I bet.
I have done that. I have just stood there and been like,
let me help you.
Let me do this for you.
Yeah,
you know
I got this.
mean? This is watching little people struggle.
Yeah. But does it ever cause you anxiety? Because like people, I mean, you met my son upstairs today. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what was the first thing he said to you?
He just goes, you're huge.
yeah. And he's like a tiny guy. He's like the tiniest of all his friends too. So he's like, you guys are the complete opposite. But that is the first thing that he said. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, oh yeah, you probably get that all the time. Kids, adults, people everywhere. Like, and I know we talked about it that's how I started on episode 18 about you being so tall.
And we haven't even seen each other in life yet.
Yeah, no,
You've called me tall over a video chat.
Yeah. It's like, you're so fucking tall. It's so true though. You're ridiculously tall. So, but you sometimes probably stick out. So do you like feel uncomfortable when you walk into just compared to a brown woman walking into a room full of white people that like, oh shit, they're staring at me. Do you feel like?
No, because at this, like, you know what height also gets you is confidence. So,
okay.
So like, it's like, I do draw a lot of attention, but I'm okay with it because of, I guess, but also I'll say this, like when I was younger, definitely.
Yeah.
But when you work through some stuff and you like become, it was a little bit more with white people. It was more like they're more scared of you than you are of them. Yeah. So just make them feel comfortable, you know, and they'll be all right. Yeah. Learn a few things about camping and barbecuing.
All
or whatever.
That stuff, right? Yeah, all that jazz. Never. I refuse to.
My code switching is legendary. Anyway, so it's not a big deal. It's just like, and for the most part, people do like talk about it a lot. Oh, that's my class.
Yeah, it's gonna happen a lot.
Like people do bring it up to walk up to you, but it's like they're just curious and they wanna just talk to you. It's a conversation opener with people. And I don't have social anxiety. I have like conceptual anxiety about the world, but I don't have like if a person walks up to me, I'm not anxious. I'm just like, hello, how are you? And maybe I'll have a conversation. But yeah, it's totally fine. Honestly, the only thing is I can't get away with any crimes or... No,
people would be like, that one guy in the world that's 6 foot. They're like, oh, it's Jeevan.
Yeah, so identifiable.
So identifiable.
But there is like, I get it too. I've started this new joke in my act. It's my new opener, but it's based on a true story. I'm usually the tallest person around ever. And even...
Have you ever been in a room where you weren't?
Yeah. So most people come up to me that are like 6'4".
Yeah.
Oops, sorry, 6'5", and they go, "Hey, man," and their line is like, "I'm used to being the tallest." And look at you. That one's actually kind of annoying. I don't know why, because I don't have a response to that one. They just go, "I'm used to being the tallest," and I was like, I don't know why, but you sound disappointed about it, you know. But I got on the bus one time, and there was a guy on there. And he was like, he had to be like 7'2". Like I walk on the bus, he's a full head and a half taller than me. Like I have to look up, like legitimately.
Like, does the bus even go that high up?
His head was almost at the roof of the bus. Like it was like just off. He had to be like 7'2". And the joke, which I do, which is a true story. I just, something like my belly started rumbling. Like it was like something happened in my stomach and I just felt the need to go, hey, how tall are you? Do you play basketball? Like every question I've ever gotten, I felt the need to ask him. And I was like, oh, that's what it's like. And then once I experienced it, I was like, okay, I get it. I get it now. Yeah. Like I'm like, and then so when people come up, I'm like, yeah, I totally understand what you're feeling because I finally felt it.
Yeah.
I finally felt what it was like to like see a person that ginormous that you just felt like going up to them like, I need to have your information.
Yeah.
and the thing is like we this is also a part of the joke, but there's a tall guy nod, right? Like when we see each other, we give each other a nod, like a hey, what's up? I don't even do that with brown people anymore because so many brown people around these days that like I don't even give them like a nod anymore. Yeah. But like I do still with tall people where we see each other and we give each other a nod. And
but how tall do they have to be to get the nod?
That's the thing.
Oh, okay.
So like it's like generally speaking 6'5" and above. Like that sort of thing. Like and there will be 6'2" people who try to give the nod, and you're like, you're not in the club.
My brother's 6'3", so that means he's not getting the nod. Shit. Oh, can I be there for this? I want to witness this.
Well, the thing is, I tried to give the nod to the 7'2" guy.
Yeah.
And to be like, yeah, me too, right? Like, hey, I'm tall. And he just looked me off like, no, you're not in the club. No. So that was the thing. I was out. There's the thing. His tall guy.
What the fuck is his cutoff then?
Dude,
shit.
He's got a cutoff at least 6'11" or something. You know what I mean?
My God.
Like, so I totally understand what I evoke in people now. Because I also like, I'll see a guy, like I'll be walking on the street sometimes and I'll see a guy and I'm like, holy shit, that guy's tall. And then we'll be in a crowd, right? So I'll be like, that guy's really tall. And then he'll walk by and then I realize he's like 3 inches shorter than me. Oh. And then I'll be like, oh, and if I thought that guy was tall, then what do I look like? Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, so I get like where I'm at in the world, but it's like, you know, it's like, I wouldn't give it up. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, you can't. What are you going to do?
Yeah. I mean,
you can't.
I've always wondered about this, and I've never because it was part of when I wrote the white privilege, tall privilege joke. I was thinking like, how many inches would I give up if it was to if I got white privilege? Like, you know what I mean? Like, would I being
trade in?
If I could trade in, and I'd be like, okay, like I can, if I could be like 6'4" and white. That probably seems like a good deal.
I mean, it's still a respectful level of tallness.
Yes.
You still, you
get all the advantages of the tall.
On top of that, you're a tall white guy.
Yes. But the thing is, because that's the thing.
Tall, dark, and handsome. Isn't that what they would say?
I'm working on titles for my new album, by the way.
There's one right there.
Well, I'm thinking tall, dark, and then some.
Oh.
Yeah. What do you think of that one?
I really like that one.
Yeah. So we're recording this earlier.
Yes, we are.
I'm in Calgary this week, but we're going to release this when the album comes out.
Yeah, we are. It's going to be a while.
If you are listening to this, it is now September, but if you're listening to this, my album has come out and sometime in October.
You'll find out what the name is.
Yeah, and you will find out what the name is because it's currently unnamed.
Yeah, unnamed.
Why don't we name it right now?
We should name it.
Middle Fingers Up exclusive.
Oh my gosh, right? We come up with a name.
I'm not
sweating.
good at titling. I'm
I'm going to help you. We're going to do this. We're going to come up with it. But I like what you have. I think that's really cute.
Tall,
I like that one.
Some. Yeah. It's not bad.
Your wife must have suggestions.
She does. She doesn't like that one.
Oh. Are you allowed to share her suggestions? Or is it when you're naming a baby, people don't tell the names?
Yeah, I'll go through them. I have them on my phone over here, but I can't remember what the okay, let's see. Tall, dark, and then
that one's my favorite.
It's
already.
Actually ill-timed outward thoughts is another one that I like.
Oh.
Maniacal laughter. My own worst frenemy.
Oh.
It's pronounced Jeevin. This Jeevin Gill. It's pronounced Jeevan. Would be.
I really like that one.
Yeah, and do you think this is funny? Which is what I say to most people when I come up with a joke.
Do you think this is funny?
Yeah, do you think this is funny? And I just walk out of a shower and because that's where I get most of my writing from.
The think tank.
Yeah, that is the think tank. Yeah. If I need to work on material, sometimes I'll just not put any music on and then just stand in the shower for 12 minutes.
You don't even need to shower. You're just standing in there. Good thing you weren't in Calgary when we had our water crisis.
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't be able to work.
Wrote no material.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Is that over now?
Literally just a couple of days ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was still going on?
It was going on for a long time.
Oh, my arrival fixed it?
People were following the rules every day.
Oh.
You know? So 5-minute showers, 3-minute showers, whatever they were.
Okay. So that was what it was.
Yeah, there was like all the outdoor restrictions were out and then indoors mostly. And then I'm just going to out myself. I was doing my best, okay? I was doing my best at following. Just doing my best. That's all I can do. That'd be the name of my album. I'm just doing my best.
My mom, a few years back, there was droughts in Vancouver and there was water restrictions. And she was watering her lawn not even there was water restrictions, like we had abundance of water.
Yeah.
And it was so bad because it was like everyone was told, don't water your lawns. Like, please don't water your lawns. We're short. It's a drought. My mom's got the greenest lawn. Oh. Everyone's lawn is burnt to a crisp in the neighborhood because they're following the water restrictions. Yeah. And my mom.
Nobody complained?
No, because we live in a brown neighborhood, so I guess no one's like.
Everyone's got everyone's back.
Everyone's just like, everyone will just talk shit, but they're not going to call the cops on you. You know what I mean? Like it's.
Yeah, they rather just that's right.
A couple of generations from now, we will. Like I think we're getting there.
My kids' generation. I don't fucking care if you're brown.
Yeah. They're just gonna start calling a bylaw. But I remember just
my neighbors got a call.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. The day before the restrictions went out, they kind of like just used something, did something. And they have a rivalry going on with their neighbor. Yeah. And so they got a call in. And so they got charged or ticketed or whatever it was. I don't know. Whatever bylaw can do. Their bylaw has a lot of power. Yeah. Just saying.
The most power. Like it's like people forget, and this is gonna sound so nerdy, but like everyone gets worked up over federal politics, but it's like local the provincial politics are much more like affecting your life. That's ones you should care about if you're only going to care about one. And municipal politics affect your life day to day. And people don't care at all about voting for a mayor or voting for your councilman or whatever. And they don't like, and it's like, dude, that's like, if you have things you complain about, most of what you complain about when it comes to government, it's going to be related to municipal or provincial.
Yeah.
Like very few times is it going to be like, oh yeah, like the federal government made a decision and then it affects my actual life day to day going forward. Sometimes, I mean, yeah, it does. But
like abortion and shit. But hey, whatever. That's,
how many times do you get an abortion?
Yeah,
in like
really,
like 14,
like,
14, 15
come
times?
on, right? Like hardly. That's never gonna apply to you at least. Like 50% people in this room. So whatever. Yeah. We're good.
Hey, I get affected by them.
You're already thinking like a 6'5" white man.
Yes. How does this affect my life? Yeah,
it doesn't.
Yes.
Let's carry on. Then.
Carry on not giving a crap.
Okay, can I ask you though? You have this whole Asian comedy festival or Asian comedy, what's it called? It's called
Asian Comedy All-Stars.
All-Stars, like the All-Stars. This is cool. Can I ask you about this?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's promote some shows.
Yeah,
baby.
yeah. And especially
if you're in Toronto, come out on October 19th. I'm pretty sure it's like October 19th at the Rivoli. Tickets at Asian Comedy All-Stars, Toronto. This guy, or just, you know what? Just DM me on Instagram. I'll send you a link. DMs
are great.
Yes. 7 p.m.
It's great when October celebrities 19th. Do that. It'd be so cool if Jeevan responds, you're lucky. That's so awesome.
If you respond to if you message me about buying tickets, you'll probably get a response from me at some point.
Only if you're buying tickets. But so this is awesome. This show's coming up, but can we just also like celebrate the Asian comedy show? Like, so there's a bunch of people, South Asians, that are getting together and putting this on. And like, there was a time where we were lucky if we had a Russell Peters.
Yeah, I know. It's it's actually, the market is oversaturated now.
Oh God, you're not see, this is the thing, right? We're like, we want to be equal, but then all of a sudden we're like, now no one cares because we're just, you know.
I know. It's like, it's almost like, it's kind of funny to, like you're saying, this is so cool, Asian Comedy All-Stars. And I'm like, is it? It's like pretty normal now. And I think that's progress, which is great. Yeah. Like, I think that's for me to be like, because I'm in the comedy world. So I see plenty of these kind of shows. This is probably the best one for that kind of genre in Toronto. That's amazing. It goes on every month or every 2 months in Toronto. And I've done it a few times as a comic on the show, but now I get to headline it. So I'll be
That's cool.
doing the last spot, doing like 20 to 30 minutes at the end. Usually it's, I think about 6 comics doing 5 or 10 minutes sets. And then at the end, I headliner. And I've seen some comics I really respect headline the show, and then all of a sudden a few years later and a bunch of hard work later, I'm headlining. And so it's going to be very cool. Come on out. But yeah, it's a very cool show about all the different Asian representation in comedy in Toronto. And
so they're all local?
All local. I think our lineup's all local, but every once in a while you do get a few guests coming in from out of town. Yeah, it's great. Run by a producer named Raj Kazi and a producer and comedian in Toronto named Raj Kazi, and she's really great about not like censoring or even guiding the material.
Oh, cool.
Because you do a show like this sometimes, and you ask them like, do you want all Asian material, all race related material or something? And then she goes, no, like you be you, which is Asian. Yes. So whatever you do counts as Asian. We're just doing the representation part.
You know what though? That's a fair question, because like what she's saying is like, let's just bridge the fucking gap between the East and West. And it's hard sometimes because like who's your audience? And this is why I'm like, this is so cool. And it is also really neat to hear you say, oh, this has been happening, like this is common, which is even cooler. But then also like, code switching, like you said. So who are you writing your show for? And then also, is there like gonna be overlap? Yeah. Like, are you gonna talk about your mother-in-law and then the other guy's going to? Are you gonna talk about the Indian like the things that people know us for or we know each other for? Yeah.
No, I think like, so a lot of people do get annoyed by that sort of stuff too. It's like, oh, there's 2 other brown guys on the show. Like now I gotta watch my brown material, whatever. And it's like, yeah, but it's also like, it's I think it's nice because like people will cover topics and then they're out of the way. You know what I mean? So it's like...
But like, do you think white people do that? Like, like they're like, oh, there's 7 white guys that I'm going to be going up against. Now I have to be careful about living life every day. Like, I don't,
well, it's like, because the thing is you get genres and those where it's like, if you get 7 white comics, but they're like all like awkward, anxious white guys, then it's like, by the 4th guy you're gonna be like, okay, we've heard,
we get it, emo.
It. Or they're all like edgy, right? But I think when it comes to racialized comics, where it's like, whether it's like an Asian comic or an indie comic or whatever, black comic, and it's like you'll start going like, oh, he's gonna do all the black material. But I think I think this is good, because that means we have so much, that means you get to go into deeper things. I think you get to like, instead of like, kind of sometimes you get into the trap of like, this is what the audience wants to hear from me because I'm brown. Right. Do you get to be like, no, I'm going to talk about this other thing, which, no one else is doing because it's my perspective. Right. And that I get to do that because I don't have to, because, there's other black comics on the show. So, So I think it's like, you're getting closer and closer to that sort of where you want to be, which is like, your race doesn't matter. Yeah, like you don't have to have the pressure of being the only one representing your people. You're like, oh shit, there's a bunch of us. I can actually focus on the shit that I want to talk about.
Yeah, that whatever, through my life experience. And what I agree with you and love what you're saying is, if you go to one of these shows and you're not brown, you get to learn that doesn't matter if you're the same color or not. Like our context is not always going to be the same. You and I are both Punjabi and we're going to have very different upbringings. Yeah, you and I know that. You and your wife are not Punjabi and, you're going to have your own stuff and whatnot. But people from the outside will look and think, oh, you guys are all the same. It's all the same stuff, right? And so it's cool to get in there and, like you said, get deeper and, talk about, okay, I was born here. I wasn't born here. I'm the oldest kid or whatever your thing. I'm tall. I'm a tall brown guy. Maybe that's your thing.
I get more annoyed when there's more tall people on the show than other indie people. They're stepping all the tall
flipping
material.
tables over.
Because I can't even do my tall material. I can't even, because it is easier sometimes. If you're the only tall guy on a show and you just do some tall jokes to the audience immediately, like, they immediately they love you, and then you just get to talk about whatever you want to talk about, but you've had an easy in.
Yeah, your icebreaker. And they're all thinking about it when you walk out. Yes. Do you have your hair down, or is your hair always up?
Hair's always up, but
how long is it now?
It's very long. It's very, very
past
long.
your butt?
Oh yeah. My butt's a far way away from my head. So it would be if I was normal size.
It would be far, far away.
Yeah. So it's not like my lower back though. So it's pretty long.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really long.
So you'll usually have that up.
It's always up. Yeah. It's honestly, it would be so much work. I've seen people with long hair like wear it down, and I feel like that'd be so much work because it's always in your face and always like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I just think for presents, like you already have a presence when you walk out, and then your hair. So I was curious, like, yeah, what, you know, if you get those tall jokes out, people probably warm up to you because that's what they look at. You have my dog would not stop barking at you when you walked in. You have a presence.
Yeah, your dog is very scared of me.
She's like, what is going on?
No, there is like an immediate reaction to my height, and that's. Once again, taller than I am brown. Like they definitely noticed that first.
That is right. What people would see first. Yeah.
It's So it's something you like. So when you're where the level I'm at, where too is like most of the shows I'm doing, most of the audience doesn't know who I am. Right?
Yeah.
They've never seen me before. They don't know, and they're not fans, for example. So they don't know. They know no context. So you have to do some jokes that ingratiate their immediate response, which is the tallness. So you address the tallness.
Yeah.
And then it's just because I didn't for a while. For like the first few years, I was always tall, and I just thought like it would just be too easy and too hacky.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, why would I talk about the obvious thing? I'm trying to be original. Why would I talk about the most obvious thing? And what I realized was like, no, you just have to do it for them. To, like it's bothering their like an audience's entire, like if you walk out and you start talking about whatever like race issues or political issues or even like, you know, porn or whatever you're talking about, if you just jump in, they'll be like, oh, okay, she's talking about this topic, and they'll try to stay along. But in their heads, they're like, how
tall is he? Like, is he as tall as Jim? No,
so,
no,
like,
he can't be.
Like I would have people coming up after shows like, hey, you're really funny. How tall are you? And so it would just like, it's like a few jokes at the beginning of a set to just let the audience know. Yeah. I know I'm tall. Like, it's so funny because people go like, you're tall. Like, I don't know. Like, it's.
That's exactly what, like, we say, okay, you're tall. Yeah. Like, it's just, it's like, but you're good at responding to it, you know? Like, I know it's annoying and whatnot. But at the same time, like, it's the first time we've noticed that about you. You've always known that. So, you know?
It's fun. It's honestly, it's good. There's worse things people could notice about you. Let's just say
true.
That.
You know what? It's so funny when you said, I've never really thought about this way when you said people notice your height before your color. Yeah. And that made me think, I'm like, oh, I wonder if somebody would notice something before about me than the fact that I'm, you know, brown. Like that's such an interesting thing.
Yeah. It's like, I'm also like a light skin and like, so like if on the scale of brown, I'm on one end, on the scale of height, I'm on the other end. Totally. So that's why it's like, it is on.
You're confusing.
Yeah.
You're confusing us, Jeevan.
Yeah. Because I can look ethnically ambiguous, but I can't look heightily ambiguous.
Yeah. You almost could have been an international hitman, but you can't.
And I can't.
Because people be like, it was the tall guy that tried to assassinate that guy.
Like, you should have seen me in Asia. Oh my God. I was in Singapore, and there's a video of me on my Instagram of me walking through Little India, actually, in Singapore.
Oh, that's so cool! Yeah,
but Little India in Singapore is mostly South Indian people.
Yeah.
And I am not twice the size of most South Indians.
I bet.
So it's just me walking amongst just the tiniest,
and they're just like looking at you. Yeah.
So it's like, but by the way,
you're like Godzilla walking.
Yeah, in Asia.
Oh my God, I didn't even mean it that way, but now, like great. Godzilla. Now I did it. Now I'm this one. I'm racist. Okay, I'm gonna ask you. Last time you were on, we talked about how you get into the whole bungee jumping thing, and then you kind of do it around your birthday. So I thought we should talk about, it's been your birthday since maybe even 2 since, I don't know. But are you still doing that? Is that still going on? Like, what's the deal?
Yeah. So basically, I wish there was some sort of like life goal attached to this, but it's more like I just came up with this idea before I turned 30, because I was like, I'm getting old and I want to do something because I'm getting old. And so I decided that I wanted to go bungee jumping, walk the roof of the CN Tower, which is called Edge Walk. Yeah. And skydiving before I turned 30. Yeah. And then COVID hit before I turned 30. Right. And I couldn't do any of it. Then I decided, okay, 31, 32, 33, will be bungee jumping, edge walk, and skydiving.
Okay.
And so I think the last time we talked, I just done bungee jumping.
Yes.
And so I did bungee jumping 2 birthdays ago. Then last birthday, I did edge walk, and my birthday's coming up in a couple of weeks, and I just went skydiving.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. Your birthday, I actually have it in my phone.
Oh, really?
It is coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up in October.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you
October,
which day.
I know it. I know. I have it memorized.
Oh, really?
I know which one it is, though. I'm so smart. I remember it. Yes.
Good for you.
I only have it written down because I was supposed to, I had a goal. Remember, I was supposed to get someone to do something.
By the way, for the astrology people listening, I won't say the date on the internet, but a Scorpio.
Oh.
And
what is a Scorpio exactly?
Listen, astrology is, I think, bullshit, but Scorpios are the best one.
Oh my God, I say that about me, but that's because I'm a Gemini and we're fucking narcissists. So that's exactly what I say. You should have been a Gemini. So what is a Scorpio? Maybe we have similar things.
I don't know exactly.
Do you attack?
I think like we're like closed off, but also charismatic.
Oh, like mysterious.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I'm like so not mysterious. But I'm also very good at sex.
That's good to know.
One, yeah.
That one just takes the.
Yeah.
That's why this sign is the one that makes the most sense. Scorpio, right? It's a real one. Gotta be me. Obviously, yes. Yeah. The other one's not so much. This one, yes.
Yeah. It's bullshit, but it totally applies to me.
Yeah, obviously. Don't you hate it? You're like, oh, it's like me to a T. It's so annoying.
Oh, it's also funny because when you meet somebody who is into astrology and then you go, all right, go ahead, guess my sign, and then they'll give you like Gemini. No. Capricorn? No, you're Aquarius. And then you go to like 6 and then they're like, okay, what is it?
What's left?
And then like Scorpio. They're like, I knew it. Did you? Did you really?
Yeah, I totally.
Because you went through 6 out of 12 options.
I knew, I could tell. Just didn't know that I knew it until I knew it.
It's so
then
funny.
I told you I knew it.
I'm not trying. Like I used to bother me a bit more when I was like, this is so stupid. But I'll let have your astrology. It's fun. I understand.
I mean, fair, right? but Geminis are the best ones. But okay, like the skydiving. So
so I just went like 2 weeks ago.
Was your process? Because I remember when last time we talked, you kind of were, all your senses were sort of like being impacted before you had jumped when you went bungee jumping. So I'm curious if you had a similar experience or what was it with skydiving? Okay,
so completely different experience than bungee jumping. And I will say, like, bungee jumping, it was less nerve-wracking. Skydiving was by far, out of the 3, edge walk, bungee jumping, and skydiving was by far the scariest.
Yeah?
By far.
Scarier than bungee jumping?
Scarier than bungee jumping. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Remember, I was like, I'm getting old, and that's why I want to do all this stuff. And then I couldn't do it. So now I've gotten more. Now, instead of like a 1-year thing, I've stretched them out over 3 years. I'm getting older every year, which means I'm getting more risk adverse and more easily scared.
So you're like freaked out.
So like I don't know if I bungee jumped when I was 31 and I was probably more like not risk adverse versus when I'm 33 now.
Yeah.
And so that I think could have played a factor in it where it was like I'm getting a little bit more like
scared.
Because my body's breaking down exponentially more every year.
Yeah.
So
well, yeah, like do you still go on roller coasters?
I haven't been near a theme park in so long. I would still go on, but last time I was on a roller coaster, I took I used to be able to take 20 coasters in a day and be fine. I think I took like 6 coasters, and I just I was about to throw up. My head was like that. So bungee jumping, and also another reason I think I was scared too is because I Googled the place. And that when I was bungee jumping, and they'd had a couple of deaths over the last 10 years where bungee jumping, I was nervous. And then when we got there was a big sign. This is a Whistler bungee jump. And they just had a sign that said, no safety incidences since 1988. So then that calmed me down. I was like, well, what are the chances after 36 years, I'm going to be the one.
I don't want to find out, but you did and you're here. So clearly he's still
good.
Still but skydiving,
the two that had died at this place were both solo. I wasn't doing solo. I was getting a guy strapped. I was getting somebody strapped to my back. But yeah, no, it's still like, I was still like, oh, like I read it and it was like, there you go. And it picked up the whole anxiety. And I was like, and then the funniest thing about skydiving is that you go there, you kind of like, you get there at what your allotted time was, like 4:30 or 3:30 or whatever. And you take an hour to fill out this form and like watch the video and all the safety stuff and fill out more forms and yada, yada, yada. And then once you're done all that, then you just have to sit there for like 2.5 hours. Because you're like, they keep taking planes out for people to jump. And then it's not your turn yet. It's not your turn. And your turn's coming up later and coming up later. And then all of a sudden you're standing there like it's 2.5 hour wait, which gives you a lot of time to ruminate.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
You're just sitting there ruminating like, what am I doing? You start second guessing everything and your palms start getting sweaty and you start seeing people come down and you're watching other skydivers come down and you're like, there they are. Holy hell, that is high. And then at the same time, but then you also start getting annoyed because you're still like, waiting sucks. So like, you're just sitting there like, and I thought it was so funny that even at this airfield, you're still sitting in a place waiting for your fucking plane to fucking get there.
It's delayed.
Like, it's delayed. Even here, they have 2 planes. And they're like, how in the fuck?
Like wherever you go, seriously. Yeah. Okay, but also like, I want to know about the person who was strapped to your back. Like, were they just as tall as you, or
no?
Like,
that was the thing. I asked them. I was like, hey, we asked them before we went. I was like, hey, just so you know, I feel like this is a very tall centric episode, but
I know, right?
It's like, so like, but they're like, I'm 6'7" and they had a thing on the wall, a line that said Tom, and it said Tom 208 centimeters, Alex. And then, so they went, you're really tall. Go stand next to that line. And it was like almost like what a mom would draw, like a growing boy.
Oh yeah.
So it was like that, but it was about an inch taller than me on the wall. And they went, like you're good. Alex can take you. And so Alex was a Spanish dude. This is a Cuban man who like fucking shout out to Alex at Skydive Toronto. I had like 3,000 jumps. He was a complete expert, but that was the tallest man he'd ever taken. So it's like anybody under him, that, like he's still good to take.
That's crazy.
So he walks over because we're good. And the thing about skydiving that I found, like even compared to like bungee jumping and edgewalk especially, they check you over and over and over. They put the nylon on you and they put the whole straps on you and everything, and they keep checking you. And what they're checking for really is like rings and earrings and stuff. They don't let you put any of that stuff on because if it falls off the CN Tower, if it hits somebody, they're dead.
Oh yeah.
Right? So they check you over and over again. They check the straps a bunch of times too, but every time they're checking the straps, they're also checking. They're like, we want to make sure you have nothing on you that can fall off. And and then Alex came over, puts the thing on me and goes, all right, let's go. And I'm like, you're not going to like double check? Like, no, we're good. And he like I stopped him. I was like, Alex, double check. God damn. It was like, it was so funny. You spent 2.5 hours waiting, and all of a sudden you're
like, let's just do it.
Yeah, they're like, strap you in and like, get on the plane, buddy. And then we're on the plane. I'm not even strapped. I thought I was gonna have to walk. Like me and him were gonna waddle onto the plane together, but no, they just have you walk on the plane. You're sitting on this plane with no parachute attached to you.
You thought that you guys were gonna waddle on, like attached to each other, and like, how would you guys? So he's like just like behind you.
We just walked like one of those, like like those 2 people in a horse costume,
like those. Yeah.
So I thought it'd be like that, and then so we start walking over. And so I know we just walk over, you climb in the plane yourself, and then you sit like basically like he straddles you from behind, like you're sitting like a high school couple. And then about halfway
I don't know what kind of high school you went to, not me.
I did not get laid in high school. But he sits behind you, and then halfway up, he then straps to your bottom 2, like right behind your back, lower back type of those ones. And then when it's like just about time to open the door, then he straps in the top 2 and then he tightens them all. And then so you're like, then you're strapped in, then you both have to like sort of slide over to the giant door that's open. And
then do you decide when you're going, or he decides?
So they opened this door up. So basically you start climbing up, and that's when I was like, so it was so funny because it was like, I had Alex with me. There's a whole bunch of skydivers, and then one other skydiver that was going to do like my videoing and my picturing and stuff. And he his name was Jake, I believe, and he goes, he's talking. He's like, "You're a comedian. I have a friend that does comedy. Do you know so and so?"
Of course.
And then I'm like, "Yeah, I do know so and so." And I'm like, "He's like, oh yeah, she's great. I used to work with her, and then she started doing comedy." All this time we were having this weird like conversation.
So you like actually knew the person?
Yeah, so like having this cool conversation. That's cool. And then I just like having this totally normal conversation. And I look out to the right, and I'm just climbing in a plane, and I'm like, "What the hell
is happening?"
And then he just comes back. So like, how did you get it? Like, it's like such a normal conversation. I'm like,
not right now.
Yeah, I was like, this is cool. And then also I'm like, and then my palms are just going this way. And so I'm looking at him, and when you're looking at the plane and it's climbing, and you're like, what am I doing? And so the entire climb up, and then he's got a meter that a reader that tells you how far it is. I say, he goes, "Hey, how high do you think you are?" We're going to 12,500 feet. I go, "It's got to be like 8,000." And he goes, "No, we're at 3,000." And I was like, "Oh no." He goes, "We're halfway there."
Oh my gosh, halfway to
and so it's like every 1,000 meters, I was like, "Oh, this is so stupid." And they open the door up, and you straddle over, and you stick your legs out the plane. So your legs are now out the plane, and then that's what they give like a thumbs up. The guy strapped to you puts the thumb in front of your face and goes thumbs up, and you just have to say thumbs up one more time, or you can bail at that moment. But yeah, like, that would be a lot. Like, you waited so long, and you're already And but that point, once you give the thumbs up and your legs are out, you're kind of out of control as far as the skydiving
what's
goes.
going to happen now?
Because the one thing Alex said to me, he strapped to me, he goes, "Remember when you get out there, when you get out there and you put your legs down, put your head back, lean your head back. You lean your legs back when you go, but you lean your head back when you're jumping. So everything goes back, like that classic skydiving. When you get to the door, lean your head back. When you get to the front door, lean your head back. Then you get over to the front door, which is an open airplane, and you stick your legs out. The first thing you do is look down, and you're like, oh! I'm just like, so on the video,
oh my god,
and it's so common because, like, you know it happens to everybody, but you're just looking out the plane like, oh my god.
You just see clouds.
And you just see Alex's a hand come around and just grab my head and pull it back up. And the look on my face, you should make it the cover for this
oh my
podcast. God, I have it. It's the most.
Could be your album cover.
Yeah, too. I should make it my album cover. You're right. It's the most, I am the most disassociated person you have ever, I have like the guy filming me, Jake, had said afterwards, he was like, I was in your face waving, like, look at the camera, like, because he's next to you. You're both at the door at the same time. You jump at almost the same time, right? So he's right next to me, and he's pointing at me going, look at the camera, and I am gone. I am not there.
Oh, interesting.
So
do you remember anything in that moment?
Yeah, I remember my head goes, he pulled my head back, and I went, oh yeah, head back. And I just went, and then he sort of gives you that, like the guy behind you gives you that push, and you both go, right? And so your head is back, but then when you come over, your head is now facing down again. Like, you're leaning your head back, but it's facing down. And so then you see when you see the fall, then it's just like,
Like, how fast are you going?
Oh, you're hitting terminal velocity. Like, it's hundreds of kilometers an hour, like 200.
Can you feel yourself going that fast?
No, you can't feel anything. You're just gone.
Yeah.
And so you're just screaming. And I was 45 seconds of falling for me. And the guy had said, like, the guy filming music, I'm going to come over and give you a fist bump at one point.
Oh my God.
And it's like, okay, cool. And so once you come to the realization of what's going on, like the falling and the screaming and all of that, and because he came by to give me a fist bump, and then you kind of like zone back in, and you're like, oh yeah, fist bump. You try to give a fist, you're never gonna. You just wave. Yeah, I went like you see me like wave at him, and then also your ears stop popping. Like, if you're an ear popper on a flight, like, like flight descends, your ears start popping. Yeah. It's hard enough, right?
Yeah.
But like when you're falling at 200 kilometers an hour, that descent, it's just pop, 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 pop. And so like I was like, yeah, maybe I can blow my. I try to like, like you blow your. Yeah. I try to do that while I was like, you see me go like come back to my face and try to grab it, and I couldn't. with it. And yeah, and then once you like realize what's going on, you go, holy crap, I'm falling. And then it's over. It's 45 seconds. And then as soon as I zoned in, the parachute goes up.
It's so fast.
Yeah, it's so fast. And then so then you're like on the parachute, which is also pretty crazy to be like floating down on a parachute. And he lets you control it. So I was controlling it, and he's like, yeah, pull one side and you can go in circles. But it was like, I pulled it about halfway and I started careening like a tornado. Oh. And I was like, nah, it's gonna
You do, yeah.
And then I was like, no, you can go all the way, keep going. I'm like, no, dude. And then yeah, so like I just like kind of like I had a very mellow, like if it was like riding a bike, I was like, I had my training wheels on kind of thing. I was like, nah.
Just like a
yeah, I'm not doing any tricks. And yeah, so at one point he kind of like, he goes, yeah, you're really tight, and you know, we're pretty low. So like I was still like 1,000 feet up, and he goes, I'm gonna loosen you. Oh, shit. And I went, what? He goes, yeah. And he starts like sort of unratcheting the strap so that I would be like not as tight on him.
You're like,
and so like I'm like just slightly dropping, like, you know, when you like readjust a baby. And I'm like, bro, we're good tight. You don't have to loosen anything. Don't loosen anything. Keep me, hold on to me. I'm like, but,
never let go.
Yeah, we get to the bottom, and it was like, I was like, oh my God. It was obviously great. Definitely the most nerve-wracking experience out of the three, without a doubt. It was just crazy. And funny, the weirdest things I was talking to the camera guy, Jake, afterwards, and mind you, I've seen this guy jump out of the plane like 4 times that day. Like I've seen him land, go in, re-parachute, go up again, right? And I'm telling him that I've done bungee jumping, edge walk, and disc with skydiving. It's like the last of the 3. And he goes, oh, that's crazy. I would never bungee jump.
Oh,
I would never skydive.
Yeah.
I would never edge walk. And I was like, what? He goes, I'm afraid of heights. I'm like, bro, you jump out of airplanes
like 7 times a minute. Like, what the hell?
He goes, yeah, I know, it's different. And you're like, what? Yeah, he goes, yeah, if I go to like my friends' apartment buildings and they're like too many stories high, I can't even look over the balcony. I'm too scared. And I'm like, I saw you jump out of 4 fucking airplanes today.
Interesting that it's different.
So, yeah, it's so different. You couldn't totally. He was like, yeah, I can't. It's like, it's too close to the ground or something like that. And I was like, wow, that's wild.
So like, what about for you for like fear and, you know, like doing these 3 things, like what comes up for you? Well, yeah. What drove you, but also like what comes up? Because in the moment, no matter how much we want to do these like things, when it's a fearful moment, whether it's a roller coaster, skydiving, bungee jump, like things come up for us in our mind. Like, so like what's going on for you?
No, actually, so like the thing is like, yeah, with bungee jumping, it was like, there was fear, but it was like more excitement. With edge walk also, it was like edge walk. I was actually probably the most excited going in.
Yeah.
But then I didn't freeze up. I did it all like when we got up there, it was like it hit. It was like, oh, I was like my mind was like, all right, we're doing this. Let's do this. Like, we're fine. But like my body was like, what is that? So like, cause you walk on if you don't know, you walk on the roof of the CN Tower, and then it's like a sidewalk length, sidewalk width. Like, it's not that wide up there. It's a pathway they've made out of metal grates, and
that just sounds so great.
Yeah. And so,
it's the walk to heaven.
You're up there and you're cool. And if that's all you want to do, you can do that. But they allow you to like go to the tiptoe of the edge, and you can put your feet over it, and then you can lean over. Like, you're strapped into this thing with these ropes and all that, but like you can lean over, you can lean backwards over it, all this sort of stuff, right? And
that one would be the scariest one, because you're stationed.
Yeah, you're stationed. You can see the ground right there, and
like everything around, like the buildings and everything around you. It's so real. Everything.
People walking by, like you can see all this, and it's super cool. But yeah, like I did it all. I did the lean out. I did the whole thing, but it took like, I had to push myself. Like my body just didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And I had to just keep pushing. With skydiving, it was definitely like, so we had actually scheduled it earlier, and then weather got in the way. So what happens is you have a deposit in with them, and they're just like, yeah, just schedule whenever you want. Just let us know. And call. And you don't have a full payment, and it's $50.
Yeah.
On the deposit. So whenever you want. So it just like, you know, it was like summer came and went, and it was like, we haven't done this. And all of a sudden it was like September, and I was coming to Calgary, and it's like, I'm not going to have a chance to do this, because then
it's going to be next year.
It's going to be next year. And the thing is, like, I was like, there was a couple of times where we almost scheduled, and I was like, maybe not. Like I was actually I was too scared to actually book it, and I was just like, it was my ADHD procrastination. When I don't want to do a thing, I just put off doing it. I put off booking it. So we go to make the appointment. I'm just too scared to kind of make the appointment, and then it's just like, well, I'm not going to be. Remember that even the day we went, we kind of went like, hey, Sunday's open, and we could do it.
Yeah,
and I just went like, why don't we decide like on Saturday? We'll decide on Saturday. And then we didn't decide on Saturday. And then I was like, we'll wake up in the morning, we'll decide. And literally like from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., it was like 4 hours of decision making. Are we doing this or not? And like,
Who's we?
Me and my partner.
Oh, okay.
And like I was going up by myself, but we're going up together, right? And like, so we are like going back and forth, and just like, she's like, you don't have to do this. I'm like, nah, but I'm like, and you know what kind of pushed me over the edge? But was like, I'm like, if I'm this scared now, I'm going to be more scared come 34. Oh, yeah. So it's not like it's like,
this is why I never did it. Because every year
you get,
and now I would never go.
And
I'm not stupid.
So randomly, like we were still deciding, it was like having a bite to eat or whatever. I was just scrolling through Instagram, and somebody I knew from like something had followed me. So I just like looked at their profile real quick, and she had like, it just said like her name, and then like her bio was like, do it scared, period. Oh. Which is so hilarious. That's like such a, it seems like such a, something like, kind of like a hacky, like every Instagram person puts like, do it, hashtag do it scared.
Yeah.
And I was like,
but you needed it.
I just needed it. Yeah. So like, just so people like, whatever your weird, crappy bio thing is, sometimes it works, man. Sometimes somebody's gonna read it. Totally. It'll help their life. And I just went, fuck it, let's do it scared. Yeah. And I just went like, let's book it. And we booked it. And then we took an hour drive to get there. And I was like, I'm doing it scared. Like it was like some random person's Instagram bio with that like hacky, like motivational quote BS that I would always make fun of. Worked on me one day.
But totally. But like, even when you break it down, it's so well said, because it's like, okay, you're doing a huge, crazy ass thing by jumping out of a plane. But like, there are moments in life, decisions we make that feel just as wild, like jumping out of an airplane, like getting married, having a kid, going to school, moving. I don't know.
Having a kid is so much
murdering
worse than
someone. Yes. It's fucking, I'm still jumping. My feet have not touched the ground yet.
The thing about skydiving, the thing about all of these things is like, if you die, you don't have to deal with it. Do you know what I mean?
It's true, but
if you
also
have a kid,
like
you're gonna have to deal with it.
So then why are we so afraid, right? Because we're so yes, okay, fair. Like if it happens,
because we're scared to die.
We're so egotistical. That's what it is. Like we don't want to die. I mean,
I think I'm chasing something when it comes to like the thrill and the dopamine and stuff. When I do these things, like there's definitely. It's like being on stage. Yes. Oh, and that was the thing. I was talking to one of the skydivers when I was sitting there, and he was like, I was like talking about how it was my first jump. He's done like just his thousands jump recently, and so he was talking. He's like, yeah, man, you got to start somewhere. And like I had my first one, and then I got hooked. Like I got hooked, and trust me, if you get hooked, like your money goes. Like he's like spent all his money he spent on parachutes and all this jumping and stuff. And I go, I'm just standing there. I'm like, what if I had this moment? I was like, what if this is like the thing that like all of a sudden it's like the thrill of this is bigger than the thrill of stand-up. It hits a vein for me more than stand-up comedy does. What if I like do this and then I come down and I'm like, I'm quitting comedy. I'm going to be a skydiver.
Or a teacher or like instructor, or the guy that tandems to you now.
Yeah.
Shit,
and I was like, what if this happened to me? And I landed, and I'll tell you this right away when I landed, stand-up comedy has a bigger thrill than skydiving. I can tell you this.
Fuck.
It is.
Seriously. It's scarier too.
Apparently it's like, because
like, what do you feel similar nerves? If I took a picture of you before you go up, you know, maybe not this weekend because you're like downplaying it, but let's say you're going to go up to a very nerve-wracking performance.
Yeah.
And I took a picture of you behind the backstage.
Yeah.
Would you look just as disassociative there as you would on the plane?
I would probably look the same as I look like getting ready to get to the plane.
Yeah.
That moment of like when I was that level of dissociation is not there, but there's definitely like, I'm less nervous these days. I've been doing for 10 years, but like, if you went back to my early days, it was like, it was like definitely.
Why'd you keep going? Why'd you keep going back?
It's because that venom of that hit, when this works, there's nothing like it. Like there's the thrill of it, the feeling you get from like a crowd exploding, the energy you get, and the fact that you did it yourself. Like, this is my thoughts. I wrote this thing, I practiced it, and it's here and it's working, and it just booms, it hits. There's like, I can tell you from experience, bungee jumping, walking on the top of the CN Tower, skydiving, all of it doesn't compare, and I've done them all.
To what you wrote. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to play a game with you because you said something, and I'm like, oh, I want to know this. So you have to answer this really quickly without thinking, okay?
Oh, God.
Stand-up special or live tour?
Live tour.
Performing for a packed crowd or a small, intimate audience?
Packed crowd.
ADHD brain, energized chaos or hyper-focused frenzy?
Energized chaos. I am chaotic.
Yeah.
Absolute chaos. The way my life is structured, it's nuts. And it's like, I just have like a day that just goes anywhere. And then all of a sudden it's the end of the day and then you start all over again. And there was this thing about my ADHD. I'm like, I'm going to fix it tomorrow. Like, tomorrow's the day I get
Tomorrow's
together.
the day.
Tomorrow's been the day for about 33 years.
Shit.
Yeah.
Writing jokes alone or collaborating with other comics?
Oh, collaborating with the comics.
Community. I like that.
Yeah, there is. I am very much more appreciative of the community that I get with stand up as I get older. Because I'll tell you this, they're just the nuttiest group of people, myself included. but it's great. Like, it's when you have a great hang of 4 comics. Like, 4 of us from the show last night just hung out till like 1 a.m, just having a hilarious chat, talking about like the Diddy accusations and like,
guys,
and
let's
the thing,
talk. Are we adding this to our, like, you know?
Oh yeah, that's what we're doing. We're always like, there's always like something comes up. Like I have a thing I have a joke about a glory hole and how I'm too tall for the glory holes. Like I had this show at a sex club once.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah. Do you know what sex clubs are?
Yeah, I do actually.
Yes. Oh wow. You're a cool
Don't
person.
ask me if I've been to one though.
Not on the podcast.
You don't want to know the answer. I'm kidding. I have never been.
We had a show. I got booked for a show at a sex club, performing for a very appreciative audience.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. So
lots of oohs and ahs there.
Yeah, great audience. But they gave us a tour beforehand.
Yes, yeah.
And they gave us a tour of the whole place, and they had a glory hole station. And I walk over to it, and I'm fully clothed, but you can tell from where I'm standing, like I'm too tall for the glory hole. And I was telling somebody this story yesterday, and they went. And then I just said, yeah, he's like, how would you do it? You have to take a stool or something at the glory hole? And I was like, no, I would have to spread my legs wide like a giraffe drinking on the safari.
Here's Jeevan the giraffe again. There you go.
So then we both started dying laughing. And then I went 1 second and I pull out my notes on my phone and I type
to write it down.
Like it literally says in my notes, like glory hole giraffe.
Now you have to go put the pieces together.
Yeah. So it becomes like that's part of the hang is just like talking shop, talking about different comedians, all this sort of stuff, and then every while you're telling stories. Yeah, it's a great hang. Because there is a frequency that comedians have. So and trust me, I've taken like my partner and other normal people to hang out with my comedian friends, and it just doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
So what is it? Like what? So if I went, like what? Like it just. I wouldn't get it. Like you guys, what is it? You guys just don't like us.
It's like there's a personality, there's a connection between comics with we do this, and so they're like comfortable with you because you're part of that in group, I guess, right? I don't know. I'm not really sure what it is.
But what if a comedian makes a joke in that moment? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do they laugh?
We're looking to laugh.
You're looking to laugh. You want to laugh too.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the people, right? Like I enjoy laughter, so I enjoy people just cracking jokes.
Yeah.
If it's not the best joke in the world, whatever, I'm still gonna laugh for you.
Oh, so all day you've just been laughing because you're a nice guy.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, no, you thought, okay, no.
I was like, oh my God, it's so funny, this comedian.
No, actually, I'll tell you a thing. If to make a comedian actually laugh, is they will not laugh.
Oh.
What they will do, if I think something's really funny, especially if it's a joke I'm seeing on stage that somebody else is doing or something like that, in like a comedy club setting, I'm not going to laugh. What I'm going to say is, that's funny. I'll just say it out loud. I was like, that's funny. And almost in a little jealousy way, I was like, I wish I had that one.
You.
Yes, because we're total narcissists.
Yeah, got it.
So it's like, if you're joking around with comics and it's actually like medium funny, we'll laugh.
Yeah.
But if something's like hilarious, we'll be like, oh, that's funny. And then you'll just have this moment. You're like, even in conversation, you could tell it was like, I wish I had said that. That would have been really funny.
So good. What comedians out there do you have those moments with where you're like, God, they're so funny? Oh, wish I said that.
Oh, so many. I just saw Jared Carmichael do a surprise set in Toronto. It was like so good. It was just 50 minutes of like, and he just came out, no opener, some jazz music playing. It was a surprise set. They announced it like a day before. Oh, cool. And just a random chair on stage. Just walks out casually, grabs a microphone. People just like notice that he's on stage and they start clapping. And he goes, thank you. And he just goes, yeah, so I've been hanging out with my mom a lot. And it's like, just jumps right into it and just so good. Yeah. And then stands up at just the right time to like make a point and then sits back down. And I was like, this guy's great. There's so many good ones in Toronto. Honestly, like I think Canadian comedians are pound for pound, like right up there with, like you have the greats and a lot of them are American, that like the top echelon of guys. But when you get to like the medium, sort of like our level of guys, like I think we go way harder and way better in Canada than they do in America. I honestly, and I've seen a lot of, I think Canadian crowds are just not as boisterous and outgoing. And so you really got to like work at them sometimes. Like you don't get the reactions you get. I go to America sometimes and I'm like, I'm doing comedy on easy mode. Like this is so easy to make people laugh.
You think that we would be different because we're so nice that we would be like, oh, ha, ha, ha.
But we're very
just
reserved.
Like, this is not funny enough.
We're just very, very reserved as people. So like we don't like being loud in public and being like, we're reserved as people. So like, so if we're like that all the time, even in a comedy setting, like we'll laugh, right? But it'll be like, ha, ha, ha. Like you don't want to be like, ha, ha, ha. You don't want to draw attention to yourself. That's like not what Canadians do.
It's so true. That part for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, so when and mind you, like the lack of opportunities in Canada when it comes to comedy, when we as Canadians do not celebrate our own at all especially when it comes to comedy, but in a lot of the arts, like music, whatever. And you'll say like, what about Drake? What about Jim Carrey? All these guys, they got big in the US and then we claimed them. Yeah. Like we have so many people that like they are, some of the best comedians in history are Canadian. Some of the best music people are Canadian, and they had to go to America. They had to get big over there, and then we sort of like celebrate them as Canadian,
right. We're like, oh yeah, we love this guy.
Yeah, we love this guy. We always look at he's Canadian.
He's always like performed at Yuck Yucks.
Yeah, and it's like no, like we don't really appreciate the talent that we have here. And I know this from my own experiences, but like. But the thing is like what that makes for is better comedy, because since we have harder crowds and since we have no opportunity, the reason you're going out there every 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week to do it is because you fucking can't not do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so in America, you can be like some kind of medium level fun and you'll make money and you can, you know what I mean? You can have opportunities that you wouldn't get in Canada. So you can have like a career, maybe which you wouldn't have in Canada. So like, if you're out here doing it, you're either really, really good or really, really love it, or both, or you just are really, really delusional. Which also
that happens too.
There's a lot of that.
But then someone's laughing in the audience too. They're like, "Thank God that delusional person came today. I feel better about my life because I'm not going up next now." Okay, I'm gonna ask you another one.
We were doing quick answers. How long ago was the last answer? It was like 8 minutes ago.
It was good. I let it happen because I was like, "That's a good response. I liked it." So, are you a punchline first or build up the story person?
A punchline first. I'm too uncomfortable with silence to really let something fester on stage with long without an audience response. Right. Because people think it's like, oh, like it's public speaking. Like you must be good at other public speaking now. And I'm not. Every other public speaking I've had, I've hated it since I started comedy because everyone's quiet and listening to you and no one's responding. So in my brain, that means I'm bombing. That means it's going terribly. And so if I do something like a speech or whatever, it's like everyone's sitting there. I'm like, this is going terribly. And then like everything in my anxiety starts building up. And same thing if I go like, I can't let a story go too long. And also So I pepper in the jokes throughout.
Yeah.
And also I think the attention span of an audience in 2024 is not what it used to be.
Remember when songs were 8 minutes long?
Yes, exactly.
And now it's like 2 minutes and 25 seconds?
2 minutes and 25 seconds at most.
Yeah, that's a long ass song.
Yeah, it's a long song now.
Yeah.
And same thing with comedy. Like there's all this talk about, like Dave Chappelle's like it's so controversial, all this stuff. No, watch it, and leaving alone the controversy. He's a 50-year-old man, and he's doing it the same way he always did it, which is, all this sort of like build up through a story, and it's like you're losing people. It's not what comedy and it's how most like things are anymore. Where like you need to have more hits. We're used to 15-second TikTok videos, and I used to be a big fan of Chappelle. I still am, but like the newest special, it's like you're not getting to the point enough quickly enough anymore, because you're taking this sort of like long thing that used to work, it doesn't work anymore.
You're taking the scenic route. So what do you guys like? You guys, you're sitting there with your comedian friends yesterday, but you guys talk about these things, like how things have evolved over time. What kind of conversations come up? Like if you guys are all meeting up now and you're talking about how comedy's evolved or changed over time, that'd be a point you guys would maybe make about just how you deliver a joke now. People need it quicker and faster, and they need more of them.
Yeah, like that's my own theory. Like I'm sure people.
But I don't disagree with you. I think you're right. I mean, you like you said with TikTok, social media, everything, dating apps. It's just quick, here, now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm right a lot. So
I mean, yeah, God, that too. But what else would you guys say that you feel you have seen evolve or change in your industry?
It's more industry talk these days about like who's booking these festivals, or how, like, social media talk of like, oh yeah, I'm trying to get on this thing because this platform reposts comedy, or they do video that if I get into them, they'll get more followers and that sort of thing. And then you're just talking about behind the scenes stuff. Or we were like talking about, for example, like people, like we were talking about earlier about all the diversity shows, like the first Asian comic who did something, or the first Indigenous comic who did something, the first Indian comic, the Black comic that did something, and then how that generation and like when they come from that time when there was not that many opportunities, how they're from a time where what you do is you turn around and you kick down the people coming up behind you, because your mindset is like there's only room for one Indian comic, not multiple. So then we were all sharing stories yesterday about different ethnic comics who are older and gotten success back in the 90s and 2000s, holding other people back of the same race, because they felt like when the time they came up, it was like, you're holding, I'm the spot, I'm the Indian spot. So if I don't have it, somebody else is going to take it, and then all this ends for me. And so we heard stories of people, like doing things like showing up like I won't say names, but you'll know them. But like there was a comic, the story goes anyways, who knows, rumors. But the story goes, this comic's shooting their first album, and this other comic, much more famous and successful, comes in the club that night, and it's supposed to be, like the opening act, and then the comic goes up and does his 45-minute album recording. Well, and so then you kind of set it up so that the opening act warms them up, and then all the energy is there, and you give it all to the comic whose album recording is his special night, right? Yeah. So this comic shows up, goes to the club manager, famous comic, and just goes, "Hey, let me go on before the comic is recording. Let me do a guest spot." A guest spot is usually 7 minutes. Oh my gosh. Just like, I'm just going to do a quick spot. Yeah. Quick spot. And they go, "Well, it's his album recording, and then they go, "Nah, he's got the muscle to say, no, put me on." Yeah. So they go, "Okay, can you just do like 7 to 10 minutes?" And then he goes
and
up.
Not your best stuff?
Yeah. And then he goes up and just does 25 minutes. Yeah. And just takes the energy. Everyone's excited in the audience because they've seen that famous guy. Yeah. And not the guy who's recording his first album, right? And just starting out. Yeah. And so it's like, we were talking about stories like that, where it was like, that's messed up. Like,
that guy's album name would be like, "I'm Here Too."
Yeah. Like, geez. Yeah, but it's like, there's been stories like that around comedy where.
Why do you think, I mean, like, what's that flex about? Like, why is that necessary when you get to a place where you're doing well? And like you said, these doors are being closed more so than like people saying, hey, it's time to pay it forward, give back, and open a door. Where do you think all that comes from? Why do people go that route?
Just narcissism or insecurity or all those different things that make you a comic and make you a successful comic. That's the thing about this industry. It's like the things that are messed up about you, generally speaking, also what make you funny. Yeah. And so it's like they kind of go like hand in hand, you know, and there are a lot of this opposites too. There's a lot of people, a lot of famous stories of famous guys helping out people and giving them opportunities and opening doors and helping them. There's also these other ones. Yeah. And what happened, like the thing is like that, like insecurity and that narcissism and that gives you a drive that lets you be successful. Right. You know, I know people who are much more successful than me, and then I talk to them in person. I'm like, oh, you need therapy. You know, but like your career's going well. You know, like,
so sell your soul for something.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, like that, like we were talking about earlier, like I need all this social media presence, and I don't have a great one. Yeah. And part of that is because I don't have the need to like keep posting and which is what helps a social media account grow.
So I see.
Yeah. So, exactly. So it's like, it's so hard to, but for some people, it's like, they're like, it can feed their insecurity and help them.
That's their jam. They're so good at that part. That's why I was like, you need a Transformers team. Someone that's so good at that part. And then someone does, you know, what you're doing and whatnot.
Yeah.
Do you think some of the, like, you know, let's even like like you're saying, let's say someone from a different race that's, you know, let's say a brown guy, and he's like, oh, I don't want to open the doors for the other brown guys because it took me so long to get here. Let's say it's that. Like, do you feel like some of that is okay, the guy, but also like the way that the world has sort of like pitted us against each other, like created this where like I'm not a comedian. I've never been in a big famous job, but even in an office setting, I remember being like, these are my white people, like, you know, a new brown girl in town. And if it was fine if it was the opposite sex, because you're like, whatever, but if it was a brown girl, then it would be like, but now she's, you know, because I've always been told I'm different or you're special or what, because I'm a different brown girl. Yeah. So now, God forbid, another one comes in and how the fuck, I'm not going to be special anymore. Yeah. And it's so fucked up. It's so weird, but that's the easiest way I can describe that part. Do you feel there's a connection in that way in the entertainment world or in your industry?
Yeah. And like I said, it's probably way worse back in the 90s when it was like, you're not going to have more than one. You know what I mean? And like, and so but it still exists. I'm sure, like, you know, like if I'm on a lineup of comics, I'll make note of all these other brown guys, even if it's like just to be like, hey, are you doing this Indian joke? Just so I know, you know, like it's definitely like something I keep track of in my head.
That's cool though. Like,
I try to be, like, you know, like there's, and not only like it happens everywhere, like in an office setting or whatever, like it'll still happen. Right. And then it's just everything that happens in a normal workplace is just cranked up high octane in a comedy setting because first of all, there isn't like an established like, social norms the same way. Because the comedians barely live in society as it is. But
where do they live?
Yeah. And then the other thing is like you are all gunning for what is much less opportunity. You know what I mean? Like at a company, like there's going to be like, oh yeah, I'm trying to get promoted and get a raise and whatever. Yep. Everyone's going to get a raise at some point. Like, oh, you're going to get promoted to like the next officer branch or whatever. Whatever. Like, or if you don't work at this company, like you can't get a raise here, like you'll get a job at a different company and you'll get that position that you wanted at a different company. It's like, it's just comedy. There are a limited amount of spaces, no matter how you slice it. Yeah. At any given time, there's like 5 big comedians, like big comedians, famous comedians, 5 in the entire world where you're like, or like,
and you try to strive to, or you realize like that's just not going to happen that way.
And if you're like, you know, like say I'm coming to Calgary and I'm trying to promote comedy shows. Well, there's a comedian here every week doing the same thing. Yeah. So different comedian here every week, probably 2 because it's 2 comedy clubs here. And we're all trying to sell tickets to Calgary. And how many people are in Calgary are going to buy comedy tickets every week? No, you're trying to get them to choose you, maybe one other comic. So maybe the average person will buy, right, if you're lucky, 1 comedy ticket a year. You know what I mean? Most people buy 2. There's some hardcore events out there that go every month.
I bought 2 for this Saturday.
Boom.
So there you go.
I'm gonna go.
I hope I get harassed by the guest spot. I hope I get like, are you from here?
Yeah.
And
oh my God, please don't sit in the front row. I just remember that.
I hope it's like, oh, you too. Okay, so do you like Calgary's audience or Toronto's crowd?
I just only had my first Calgary audience last night.
Yeah.
So
were we good to you?
They were good. They were good. All women. I was doing this thing. A majority women crowd. Had a great time. It's called Rat Boy Comedy, and they do it at a place called
Good job.
Yeah, it's called Vern's.
Okay, I'm going to ask you one last, kind of like a would you rather, and then we're going to do
the longest game of quick fire round questions ever.
But you know what? I like that I've allowed it to turn into just a conversation. I'm like, I should just ask this, and this could have been the whole episode. Okay, mental health awareness. Jokes or serious talk?
Jokes. Of course,
only jokes.
You asked a comedian jokes or serious talk, or do you know? I was like,
fuck you.
That's so funny. It's like asking a fisherman, hey, steak or tuna? Fucking tuna, obviously. What the fuck are you talking about? You want me to take this seriously? No. I made my therapist laugh, and it was back when I did therapy.
Back when I did. We all, every now and then.
Yeah, I went. I'm like meaning to go back. But
as we all are.
I cracked my therapist after like 9 sessions. And it was like one of the greatest things. I was like, I think it was like, she didn't laugh for anything. And then I hit something. That
was the whole goal, right? Yeah. It was like, how do I make my therapist laugh instead of doing your therapy? You probably didn't pay attention the whole time.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You're like, she kind of smirked when I talked about my childhood trauma. Yeah. Maybe I should go back to that next time.
I don't even know if I prepared a bit. I don't think I prepared a bit, but I definitely did a trick, like a comedy trick that I know, like a beat that would work. And I hit, and she like, I saw her like giggle and then hold it back. Oh. I think I told her in the first session that I do comedy, and I think in her head she's like, I can't.
She's
laugh.
Like, I'm not gonna laugh. At
you can't. You can't. It's gonna. And I think I did probably like. I think I went like.
But why can't she laugh? She should have laughed.
She should have laughed. But also, I will say, I think I'm not sure. It's been a while, but it might have been like as soon as she laughed, I went, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, you're like,
I want therapy.
She knew. She was just smart. She's like, this kid's never coming back.
Yeah, he's never coming back. If I laugh, he's not gonna come back.
And then you got her.
She did do 2 things that were. Which is what I want in life. Yeah. And then also ironically when she did it, I kind of stopped going. And it was she laughed, which is my goal in most of my life is to get laughs. And also she said, yeah, you're right.
Oh, yeah. Why would you go back?
Well, you're fixed. I was like, I'm good.
It's done. Good. You're good. You're golden.
Yeah, I'm funny and right.
You don't need therapy ever again. Good. You're perfect.
We're good. Yeah, we nailed it.
Amazing. This guy right here. So got it. Mental health awareness is jokes, not serious talk. Okay. Let's do our middle fingers up. And then we can talk a little bit about, speaking of mental health, some ADHD stuff.
You know what? I like our last one. Like the middle fingers up to not trying again.
Yeah, that's the one, right?
Because last time we talked about like all the things, like comedy and everything else, where it was like, I could have easily not done them and I could have easily failed at them, but just not trying was going to be, and it's once again, like I went skydiving after really not trying to go,
Yeah, you just did it scared.
I just did it scared. And same thing with my album, my special, man. Like I got to a place where I was like, I think I'm ready. Like it took 10 years.
Yeah.
And lots of different bad shows, crazy shows.
Like so much vulnerability.
So much, so many long drives to shitty shows with like 9 people in a bar. And
what were the drives back like?
Oh man, there was, if you have them with other comics, you can laugh it off and stuff. Sometimes you share a ride. But sometimes you're like, man, you're a quiet ride back from some bad shows, and you're like, why the fuck am I doing? What am I? And then you're just driving. It's like 11 p.m. and you're looking. It's a Wednesday and you got work in the morning, and you're like, what am I doing? Like, what's going on? Oh, God, that was so. And then you start like all the things you could have done differently to get the laughs. Like, because that person yelled something out that threw me off, and I should have said this about their shirt. I should have said that about their fucking bow in their head. Like, you fucking idiot, motherfucker. And then like it's just terrible. So all of that, like I'll do that for like 10 years, and all of a sudden you're like, I think I'm good enough to do an album, and then most of your body's like, no, you're not. You're terrible. You're not even a real comedian. You don't even do this. Like you think you're getting hang, whatever. Like you think, and then like I had planned to do it independently completely. Like I kind of like talked to a couple labels and I loved their deals, but also like I was like, I don't like I don't think I'm gonna, whatever the reasons were, industry things. And then I was just like, okay, like I talked to a film company and I had some money, so it's gonna cost me like maybe $5,000 to get the audio equipment and the video equipment, and then hire people to shoot it all, and then remind you have to fill a room myself. Like I have to get 200 people to come out to a comedy club on a Saturday night or whatever night I was filming it, and get them to come out and support me while I do this. And it's like a crazy ass, which is funny because like people invite me to weddings like it's no big deal. Like, hey, you want to come to Mexico?
You know what? You should, but also like you should do your special at an Indian reception. You'd easily have like 1,000 people there.
I don't think they're gonna go for my humor.
I don't think they're gonna stop talking during the whole thing. But still,
that'll be great.
It'll
on the
just
audio.
be just to show like the heads and heads and seats. That's all it is. Right?
That's all comedy is. Is showing the back of people's head in the audience.
You're like, oh, this is a good comedian.
This is a good
There's
comedian.
so many backs of heads
He's standing behind a podium next to
oh shit, great. Yeah,
newly married brown couple who doesn't know what the fuck they're doing with their life.
But good luck.
As somebody who went to law school, I can tell you that the system is completely stupid. It is the contract is not something I would advise anybody in my legal capacity to sign.
It's the worst contract that how many of us sign up for.
It's the absolute worst contract you could sign. Like Mike Tyson's contract with Don King was probably better.
It's so funny when you put it that way.
Yeah.
Because it's seriously, it is a contract and then we have to live by it. And then all sorts of sometimes not great things happen.
Yeah. I have this new joke that I'm doing. I'm like ruining all my jokes, but
you're not at all.
I'm doing a new joke about like you need a marriage license. You have to go get a marriage license.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
To get married. And we don't test. Like every other license in our society, we test you to see if you can do...
If you have the capacity,
if
right?
you have the capacity to do. If you want drivers, you got to get in the car and show them you know how to drive. But the marriage license, they just hand it to you. Like, oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like, cool.
No testing, no lessons.
Yeah, good luck.
There's no like... you don't hand you like a government handbook. That's like, hey, check this out. Like, read this PDF so you know.
Yeah, go do your learners and then test drive, right?
Yeah, like a year long. They should do like a year long, like, hey, man, we're going to give you a learner's marriage license.
Totally. We should set up a system. I think there's like money involved in this.
Of course you think there's money involved in this. Why don't you just ruin it? Why don't you ruin the sanctity of marriage?
Damn it!
With money, you would think people got married over money all the time.
I know, but it's for love.
Yes,
hey, all the Bollywood movies, that's what they taught us. It was for love.
Yeah,
it was for love.
The irony of those movies too. Yeah,
always.
From the country that forces probably the most marriages. Like, get married for love, and then everybody's like, don't ever get married for love. Look at those mixed signals everywhere. I think it's so funny in brown culture that it's like we have when you talk to people, talk to the older generation, they're like, oh, so and so got married, and then there'll be a positive like, it was a love marriage. And they'll, like you said, they'll be like, oh, get in the back, okay, love marriage ki thiya. And it's like, oh, she got married to somebody and she loved them. It's a separate category of marriage.
Separate.
In brown and Punjabi culture, where it's like they did a love marriage, which is completely different. And it's like much more rare. So they had to name it something else.
Totally. And we want to go watch a show because we've never really seen this kind of a wedding before. A love marriage.
We're going to a love marriage. And I've genuinely heard
such a good point.
Older generation brown people, I'd be like, it's a love marriage. Like the way they said it's like,
work.
Yeah, like they said it like, poor girl. It's a love marriage. She's in love, poor girl. Love marriage. Yeah, love marriage. And then like at most, they're like, that's all right. Like
we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that whole like, I don't care. Like if she wants to do that, it's her life. Like, she's in a love marriage. And you're like,
I wouldn't personally recommend it for my children, but hey,
it's always like if it's somebody else's kids, it's fine.
That's great. Yeah,
it's so ridiculous.
Go marry this person.
I always find it funny too. Like we have an uncle that we don't talk to, and one time I was like, why come we don't talk to that uncle? And they're like, oh, his wife's crazy, so we don't talk to him. And I was like, well, who picked? They're like, oh, your other aunt, like your grandma picked her or whatever. So like, I'm like, so the guy didn't pick his own wife. Somebody in the family picked it. Then he can't talk to his own family because his wife is crazy, and the wife that's crazy wasn't picked by him, was picked by somebody else.
And also, as a mental health advocate, can we please get her some support? Because if she's crazy, maybe she needs some some support.
It's just because like everybody, like there's 5 days to most Punjabi weddings, and now a 6 day. You know we're adding days. Do you know?
Are we really?
Yeah, because usually it's like in the Canadian.
I blame the wedding vendor people.
Of course. So here's what happened. This is kind of funny. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Of course.
That's where we're at.
Yeah, and the reception's the next day. Remember, it's not the same day anymore.
Well, now these days, a lot of people are getting married Fridays and getting whatever Saturday. But yes, maybe it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Totally.
But it's 5 days. I don't know what point we're going to start separating, but Canadian Punjabi weddings, I feel like are also like becoming their own genre.
Like a meshed, like just a whole different.
Like it's just like like we have much more than 9 to 5 work environment in North America, where we have like the tradition kept, but we also have like, we don't have the whole like we're 2 villages apart.
Yeah.
Most people getting married live in the same city.
Yeah.
And so the bride side is doing all these things and the groom side is doing all these things. And then there's these new traditions of like the bride coming over and like quote unquote invading the groom's party on the Wednesday, right? Like that's like a fun thing that happens and all that, right? And then just the way we do the ceremony in the morning, and then we go off to photos, and then we go off to the bride's house, and this whole different it is like based off of the old traditions. Yeah. But this is the reason that the 4-day wedding existed back in Punjab in the villages is because you had like people traveling like a day worth of stuff to get over to your village, so it made sense to have a 4-day party. Yeah. Plus, like there's nothing that happens in the fucking
so
village.
You just everyone's looking forward to Basanti's wedding over here.
Yeah. So it's like might as well have a 4-day party because you never have anything else happen in the village, so you finally have a party. Yeah. It doesn't make sense when you all live in the one state and you have fucking 6 weddings in a summer.
You can't. Yeah.
And so, but we still do it, right? And so the Punjabi weddings make a lot more sense in a village setting. But anyways, we've gotten them here now in Canada, and we've started adding another day. And I don't know if you noticed this, but it's the goat party.
Oh, the guys do this now. I have heard of this recently.
So basically what happened was like a lot of people, especially if you're like closer in the wedding, what they do is just take a week off of work. You have a week off of work,
right?
And you have nowhere to go, you have no work, and so you're just doing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
It's party all day.
It's a party all the time, and you're doing weddings, and you have this Monday. You have this Monday that you've already taken off because you've taken the week off.
Obviously. Take the Tuesday too. Why stop there?
It started off slow. It was like, hey, we're going to make a big pot of goat curry.
Totally. Just a cousins.
We're going to have a big pot of goat curry in the backyard where the rest of the events are going to be. Obviously. So it's already set up.
Right.
Makes sense. You had an empty day. You filled it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm seeing people go like, all right, well, now it's going to be a bit bigger.
Yeah.
We're inviting. Okay, cool. And then what people are saying is like every single other event has dresses you have to wear.
Oh, right.
All these different outfits and colors and all that. For this one, the whole thing was you didn't have to wear anything. But now people are calling it a jersey party, a jersey goat party.
Yeah.
So it's like people wear
Canucks jerseys,
wear a jersey, wear whatever your favorite player is or whatever, and then people are decorating it and have like different jerseys on the foot and all that. But now it's become another event.
Thing. Yeah,
and we've added. And there's going to be a
shop next to the meat shop that makes jerseys for the event.
We make custom jerseys
goat jerseys
for your goat jersey. And it's like this whole thing, and like then you realize this is how it became.
Yeah.
This, you know what I mean?
Fact,
it was the first Punjabi weddings were probably one day. Yeah. And then somebody said, hey, we're gonna why don't we have some singing dancing and okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, why don't we have like this jug? Why don't you carry this jug on Wednesday? Just carry this jug.
Just carry it around,
and then all of a sudden you add another bit and all of a sudden
you also have to lighten your skin. Yeah. So we should do the maya too.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it's just like this is how it came. And
then we need Mendi.
But like everything seemed like tradition. My thing is like always been like everything seems like tradition because it seems like it's been going on for a long time. But if you step back and look at it, most traditions are not that old. And we've just added a new one.
And we don't ask. We don't ask. But the other thing is, we add a new one. We don't ask questions.
Yes.
We don't say,
it's just added
why is this happening?
I'm not like against it. I'm just saying it's like interesting to watch. One of the funniest things I ever saw, because here's the other thing, like especially when you're growing up, like you get to say no to these later on in life. But your parents get invited to all these random weddings. They don't even know the bride and the groom.
It's true.
I've been to multiple weddings, many weddings, where I could sit there. It's me, my mom, my dad, my brother, 4 people at this wedding. And I turn around to my parents and I say, what is the name of the bride and the groom? Like, we've gotten an invitation. We've walked past a sign that says their name, and we've sat down and we're having food and enjoying the whatever. And I go, what is the name of the 2 people on stage? And they would say, I don't know. I don't know. And they're like, I'm like,
Gill
what
family.
What are we doing here? Well, their parents invited us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? They're like, oh, the parents are like from the same village
You
that
can't
we're from.
not go.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like, but at that point, I was like 14. I'm like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah,
and I was just like, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? And one of the funniest things I ever saw was this like classic, I don't want to stereotype, but like classic Surrey boy, brown guy.
Yeah.
Like classic groom, right? So it was a wedding, and it was very cute. He was very, like, you could tell he was like, it was an emotional thing for him, and he was very happy. And
because he's having a love marriage.
Yeah, he's having probably. Right? So like, I don't know. I don't even know his name, to be honest with you. Right? So like, I don't know anything about the relationship, whether it was a love marriage or not. But like, I'm there. But this guy gets on stage to give his speech. He's got a speech laid out, right? And it's his wedding day. He's giving his speech, and he goes up to the podium, and he's got a thick Surrey boy, brown boy accent, and he goes, "Oh, I'm so thank you very much for coming, everybody. I just want to say, like, I love you so much, guys. Everybody's so great." And then he goes, Dad, I love you so much. Thank you so much for coming. And then he goes, like Gary, like, thank you, thank you so much for coming. I love you so much. And he goes, Uncle Titu, I love you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. And then it was like, it was genuine, but it was fucking 80 names. Like
the same thing.
He just kept saying, Auntie, Mommy, thank you so much for coming. I love you so much. Uncle G from my marketplace. Thank you so much for coming. I love you so much. Like, he had nothing to say. He just like, it was like, thank you so much. I love you so much. Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Because he had to, I bet someone probably told him to say that too.
I know he was. I just think he just didn't have the capacity
to go further.
He just didn't have the words, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you can feel that he was. I'm trying not to make fun of him, but it's hilarious. Yeah. Like
it's a good point though when you say he didn't have the words, which is a nice way to say, like, that's where therapy is so helpful. Yeah. They help us find the words in there, right? I'm just going to take a minute, and maybe I'll have more words than the Surrey guy, but thank you for coming and I love you. But also brown person to brown person, and just like brown guy in the room, like, I always appreciate having any interviews or conversations with brown guys. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons being is, like, not every one of our boys and guys has the words, has been taught to have the words, has the confidence, knows what they want, what to do, whatever. And some find it along the way, change their ways, all these kinds of things.
Right.
But when you have someone like you sitting in the room who's like, well, I'll go be a lawyer, but just kidding. I'm going to go do this thing over here that no one's going to support. It's the most unstable career, but I love it, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to figure it out. And now here you are 10 years later talking about an album that you made.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is why I bring it back to this, is like, we in our community are so, you said middle fingers up to not trying. We get buried by some of our mental health issues, other family issues, whatever it may be. And at the end of the day is there are more people out there living with some of these diagnoses like ADHD than not. It's our own, it's our business. I'm not saying we have to openly go talk about it, but I just think it's among us. And sometimes we think I'm the only one that's struggling with this thing in my house.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you are in your own way. But you're also seeming to find joy in life, or finding ways to do things that, like, fill your cup. And I just want to know more about, like, how are you doing those things and not getting, labeled by, well, I have ADHD, so my life's over, essentially.
I think there is a lot of people struggling with a lot of mental health issues in our community. One of them, I think, is not even like a diagnosis like ADHD or anxiety. It's just like, just an overall like void. And that's just like, I grew up in Surrey and I felt it there. Where I was like, I feel like there's more and like, a lot of people just are afraid to leave that circle of things you're supposed to do as a brown person, especially brown guys. Like, I remember I got a lot of shit for all the different things I do. I'm a rock guy. Like, I like going to rock concerts, and a lot of my brown friends are like, "Oh, you're so white, and so white." And it's like, I enjoy the music. Like, I genuinely enjoy the music. Also, one of my favorite bands, Billy Talent, the lead guitarist is brown.
Yeah, there you go.
He's going. He's fucking the greatest guitarist ever.
There you go.
And you're like, but like you go to these, and that's the thing is like, I remember growing up, like, we were on a basketball team, most of the kids on the team were brown, and then we went to a Chinese restaurant because one of the Asian coaches was Asian, so he wanted to take us to a Chinese restaurant. One guy just wouldn't eat any Chinese food. I'm not eating any Chinese food. Like I'm not. Okay. I eat pizza and I eat roti. That's it.
Fair.
It's like,
okay.
Yeah, but like, come on, like, get it together, buddy. Like, you're scared of noodles. You're like, you know what I mean? Like, I was, and the thing is, I've had the curiosity of new and fresh is super important to me, and that does come now when you get a better understanding of your brain. It comes from ADHD. New and fresh feeds the dopamine drip. You know, like the thing about ADHD is like the way your dopamine is structured is different than what it's meant to be. I wish I'd done more research on exactly what that means, but I know it's something to do with dopamine. I started reading the article and then I didn't finish it. So
also a great title.
Yeah. So yeah, having new experiences and having different experiences is really important to me, and you know, sometimes people aren't like that, and then that's how you do get. And some people are like comfortable, and they're like, I know people in my hometown of Surrey where like they have a 3-kilometer radius around their house. That's where their work is. That's where they go with their friends, and that's like this is the 3-kilometer radius that I never leave. Almost exclusively never leave unless it's like a special event to go to. Right. You know? And I cannot imagine living like that. But they're perfectly happy, and that's great. But yeah, when it comes to
or it's a form of anxiety, but who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? It could be a form of anxiety, right? Like that's what like therapy and more of just awareness brings up is like when you get in touch with like where, you know, like maybe a lot of mental health issues aren't going to be fixed. They're just something you have to live with, and you have to learn to live with them. But you're only going to learn to live with them if you're aware of them. So like if you're not comfortable leaving the 3-kilometer radius of your house, you have to be self-aware enough to wonder, is this because I'm scared of what's out there, or because I'm just a comfortable person? If you're a comfortable person, great. But like if it's anxiety, recognize it and then go from there. And so like when it comes to ADHD, like I am able to recognize a lot of how I live and how it goes, and how my life is structured, and it's not great, but it also kind of works, you know, like I'm able to have a good conversation with almost anybody because I have all these random topics that I've deep dived on random days. I've like one day woke up and be like, I'm gonna read about how Japan happened, right? And then I've gone back and been like, okay, so the way it started was these people came over on boats, and then they turned into this society and that society, and there was 14 kingdoms in Japan. They were all based on rice, and then the samurai were control. First, they was security, and then they control. And like I just learned about the fucking 8,000 year history of Japan in one day, and then you know they'll come up in conversation someday.
Like, I'm just random. Like glad I did now.
Yeah, so it's like I've had this like these rabbit holes that I go down, hyper focus one day. The thing about ADHD that people don't understand is like they just think it's like not, oh, this person doesn't focus, like they can't focus, and that's not exactly what it is. Like that's a big part of it, don't get me wrong, but sometimes you just hyper focus. Sometimes all you think about is and do in a day is this one thing, and sometimes that thing is productive. Sometimes the thing is like if I was building like these drawers from underneath the bed one day, and I was like, I've been meaning to do it for like 4 weeks. And then one day I just got up and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go. I bought the lumber, did the screw, like sanded everything down, like put the wheels on, like did everything in like 3 hours. And it's because I just caught this wave of hyperfocus that like one day your dopamine works the right way sometimes. And you never know when it's going to be. As an ADHD person, you never know what's going to be for. It's like this weird treadmill that's always running and that you're never on. And then one day, you wake up and you're on the treadmill and you're just doing the thing and you can't not stop doing it. And it's like, sometimes the greatest day ever. Sometimes it's like I wasted an entire day learning about Japan. And like, and there's also this all other like things I've learned about the way I feel emotions. Like I don't feel my emotions totally. So I started taking ADHD medication, Vyvanse, which levels out dopamine production and everything. And I guess it takes it to like a normal place. And it's almost like wearing glasses for the first time. If you've had your vision blurry the entire time, you put it on and it's like, oh, is this what everyone else sees? And so I was like, oh, is this how everyone else lives? Like they just like able to remember to do a thing and just do like, a thing. Like what? And then, but then also one day I'm on the pills and I just like start watching like How I Met Your Mother clips. And I starting to cry because I'm feeling like, oh, Ted's trying so hard, you know, like I like literally was like I was emotionally connecting. Yeah. And I think it was like, I realized that like my day-to-day life, I'm like 75% feeling my emotions and 25% of my brain's not there. It's off doing something else, ADHD related. Like I'm not totally focused on
you're not present.
I'm not present. And so on the pill, I guess like I felt 100% of the emotion. And to be honest, I didn't like it.
Yeah, like, you're not. It's not.
I mean, I can't believe you guys are living like this. Like, you guys are feeling your emotions all the time.
Crying all the time. Like,
what the hell? You're just feeling the emotion the whole way. Like,
yeah, like no,
what? I feel like it's a superpower.
Yeah,
because I feel it. I'm not a sociopath, but I'm like, I'm not gonna.
I don't care enough to stick around and give you a hug about this. I'll just say there.
Move on to the next thing.
Make a joke.
Make a joke and like avoid and and
that's interesting. So you like because people do talk about part of ADHD is like that masking piece of like you're masking your emotions, and some people would say a lot of times growing up because you don't really know about it, you're not finding out about it, that you're finding all these other angles, right? That maybe our parents and a lot of parents wouldn't catch it or know about it.
No, they just like, even my teachers were like, yeah, he just talks a lot and he's smart, but he won't do the work. I can't figure it out. Anyways, have a good day. And then like just moved on. Like they had like they're just, my parents were like, just hit him. It'll fix it. You know, like and no one like complete undiagnosed.
That's so sad though. Like just for a second to go back to little Jeevan for a second. Like I don't want to make you
Jeevan
cry.
At 5'6".
Still taller than me. Little Jeevan is still taller than me in this scenario. But like, how many kids, and probably adults can relate to this because I'm sure a lot of adults would feel this way now, but how many kids, you don't know what's going on and they think you're smart, they think you can do it, and you can't get your shit done, whatever's going on for you. And then like your parents don't know what to do. And then you're just like getting in trouble, essentially, either at school or by your caregivers. No one means to. That's not the intent, but the easiest thing to do is a fear, right? Like,
oh yeah. Also, like, and just beating your self-esteem about it too. Like, it's like, yeah, you're not good enough. You're not doing it. You're not. This is not. And like, I remember, like, we would have like, I wasn't a good student, especially in elementary school, but like, and that's when I was like the most undiagnosed of the ADHD, I guess. But like, I had this like we had back in my day when I was in elementary school, they used to put the grades on the wall. Like every time you did a test, they would stick the grade. I don't think they do that anymore because they realized it's not great for children's self-esteem. But they would put the entire list of the class
and the kids' full names
next to your mark. 30 people, and then they would be ranking. So like whoever's number got the highest scores, you're at the top, and then whoever's at the bottom is like, you're dumb. Idiot. Yeah. You're dumb. You're the shittiest. And I was like always the second worst. I remember being the second worst kid. There's one kid who was worse than me. And like,
thank God for that kid.
Thank God for that kid. I probably would have been even more psychotic than I am now. But like literally, like it was just like, yeah, you go up there and you're comparing. Like you're people like, oh, I so fucked up these days. Like social media, you're comparing yourself to everybody else. But it's been going on the whole time, and it's happening to 6-year-olds. Like they don't like you just know all you're knowing is like you're not good enough the entire time. Like imagine we worked in an office and everybody, like every day, people would come out and their salaries would get posted on the wall. We would be chaos tomorrow. We would fucking murder each other. Yeah. But we do it to little kids and expect them to like be okay. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And so that's like, that's still around. Like my self-esteem is.
Yeah.
Like, you would think, like a lot of people think I have high self-esteem because I do comedy and I also like, like I whatever, I'm filled with self-doubt. Every time I step off stage, I'm like, I that wasn't good enough. That one thing that went bad is bad. By the way, like my special coming out, like I shot 2 shows. Yeah. 7 p.m. came off stage, was completely miserable because like that show sucked.
Because it's the one you taped too, right?
And it's the first one I taped. I was like, it didn't go well. My performance sucked. The audience wasn't there. The second show went better. I felt a little better. Everyone was like, and that was, most of my friends came to that one and they were like more supportive. And then I just watched the first cut. We're now editing it. And I'm like, I fucking hate it. Like the audio sucks. This sucks. You're not good enough, fat. I see my belly, everything like riddled with self-doubt. And then like when you're ready for something, even like I'm filled with self-doubt. I'm still like, it's shot. It's there. It's going out. We're going to edit it as best we can. We're going to put it out. It's going to be okay. Like whatever. Like I'm able to talk myself into doing it. But like.
That's rough though, right? Because like you are your biggest critic.
Absolutely. My own worst frenemy.
There you go.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, like it's.
That's like the song by Lit, right? Yeah. My Own Worst Enemy. Yeah. Do you remember that song? Yes. Such a good song by Lit, right?
Yeah. ADHD. But this is, by the way, we started talking about ADHD and now we're talking about music. This is how it goes.
This is this is what doctors will use this episode to teach people about ADHD.
Oh, you know how I got diagnosed? Is because
oh god,
when I went in, they gave me these forms. Yeah, and it was like a quizzes basically on like
at the doctor's office.
At the doctor's office, like first of all, this is also a joke in my social, but like it's true. Somebody gave me the number of a specialist that deals with ADHD, and it took me like it took me 2 years to make the appointment.
Sense. There's your first diagnosis.
Yeah. And then I literally like they give you like these papers, and there's like 3 different sort of like tests, like you write, like you take a pen and you like fill them out type of thing, like on a scale of 1 to 10, like how many times you start a project and not finish it, like all this sort of stuff. So like they're like, take these home. Fill them out, bring them back, and we'll see if you have we'll see if you have ADHD based on these. 2 weeks later, I go back to they're like, okay, so did you fill out the forms? I'm like, no. And they went, yeah, that was part of the test.
That's part of it. Like, so you likely have ADHD.
Yeah. So yeah, like it's a hard thing to diagnose. It's also really hard to diagnose in women and especially young girls.
Yes.
Because the symptoms of ADHD present differently in boys than they do in women. And so, different in girls. And then, so what happens is like, even nowadays, when we're looking out for these signs in children, they kind of only look for the male signs and the male signs only happen in boys. So then you go undiagnosed as a woman or as a girl without ADHD. And so it's like, it presents in a lot of different ways. It's also like, with TikTok and everything, it feels like everything is ADHD. Yeah. You know, they're like, oh, if you like scratch your feet this way, you have ADHD. And it's like, or you just like itch your feet, you know, like,
there's so much information. Like, I think on one hand, TikTok's good because if you don't have access, you can learn a little bit about mental health or what. But on the other hand, if you don't know enough or have enough awareness, you can learn a lot of not great things.
Yeah. Also, any idiot with a fucking lab coat stands in front of a camera and goes like, "This is
1 in 4 people."
1 in 4 people. Did you know 33% of ADHD havers will rub their feet like this? And it's like, who the fuck is doing those tests? Like
one person watching saying, "Oh, that's me. Yeah. Fuck, I better follow this person. I'll buy the vitamin."
Yeah.
A single pill that we all take on the same day.
Be careful how you consume.
That's your public service announcement.
There you go, my brother. Yeah, exactly. Be careful how you consume that shit.
Maybe your album is also your public service announcement.
Oh, well, it probably will be. Yeah, I'm gonna change lives with this thing.
I think you have already. Honestly, just getting up on stage, man. Like getting up and doing that. Like, go big and celebrate the big things you're doing as you should. But it all started with taking that risk and getting out.
It is nice. Like I don't know. I have different thoughts about the whole like representation thing and because there is like, it's great. I love that we're pushing representation and all that. There is a element of it where it's like, hey, we're looking for an Indian guy or whatever, but it's got to be this, you know, like, and to be honest, it's a lot of it's like from your own community where it's like, it's not like white people be like, oh, hey, like a brown guy's on the show. Great. But then brown people will be like, you shouldn't be talking about that. You shouldn't be making fun of that. You shouldn't be doing that. I get that. It comes a lot with the territory when it comes where it's like you people want, sometimes the representation they want is what their idea of what you should be is.
Well, like the whole what people say. That's really interesting. Yeah. I didn't think of it that way. Is like, we want this we want to, belong, but then we want to belong a specific way.
Yes, you want and that's the thing is like I've said this a lot where I probably would be a lot further in my career if I just put my turban back on and just be like, my dad, he talk like this, and like,
you would 100%. You'd be like Lily Singh, move over. You'd be the next Lily Singh.
It's like I would probably put a gun in my head and blow my fucking brains out.
But that's just it, right? Like that's again the one box that you were allowed to be in is you can be this, like way back in the day for me 20 years ago when I was trying to do acting.
Yeah.
Black girls and Latin girls were what my auditions were.
Oh, yeah.
There was no brown girls in there ever. Today, if I was 23, I'd be on every fucking late bloomer, man. Come on. Everybody.
I auditioned for that. Fucking,
man.
They didn't cast me.
Damn it. They should have space for you to be back on that, man. Like there's so many, like, seriously. Did you watch that show though?
I did.
It's so good, right? It was so well done.
Super well done. Honestly, I was just... I was happy to audition. Obviously, I would have loved to get it, but I'm happy to see that show doing well and covering different topics. But go to the goddamn comments, and there'll be people who are like, you shouldn't be making episodes about that.
Yeah.
The first episode is about taking naked pictures of yourself.
Yeah,
like he's wearing a turban. And that's the thing is like I'm conscious of like what I'm doing, and I still love when people come up and they say, and when brown people come up and they go, hey, love to see what you're doing and love to see the representation and also loved your material.
Yeah.
That's awesome to me. That's awesome to me because it's like, I'm doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm doing the material that I wrote and it's still connecting and the people appreciate it. It's the best.
It's because you're being real. And I think sometimes it's hard to be real and to figure out what's my thing. They always say, in Late Bloomer, there's that episode when he goes to, a workshop and the guy's teaching you how, find your thing, go be you. And it's so simple, but at the same time, it's like people have told you all your life how to be. And now you have to find that one thing. And at our age, it can be hard to figure out what that one thing is that makes you you.
No, I know. And that's the thing is like, and you're not going to connect with everyone and that's totally fine. Like there's people who expect you to be a certain thing. And then if you're not that, they're not interested, and that's fine. Yeah. I just want you if you're interested in what I'm doing. I don't need everybody.
No.
100 people in every city.
Yeah. But like even think of the younger generation, like the older generation and people like good for people, even in my generation, like good for those of us that can be curious, make changes and be like, I've only known it this way. What about this way? But like we always have to think about the future, and you see young kids that are growing up, my kids that are growing up, and let's face it, there's a lot more biracial kids now. So many of us brown people with complex issues married white people. Yeah. so now we have a flux of biracial kids, and we need to get to that, and we need to like approach that and look at that. But when my kids see a brown guy, on stage, doing his thing and making people laugh, like you may not be thinking about that in the moment when you're on there doing your thing, but those young kids we're the kids that didn't get that, right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, your kids are gonna connect to my dick jokes.
You fucker! You fuck! You know what? You're 75% to you right now. Yes. You couldn't fucking go there.
I couldn't let. We were having a moment. I couldn't let it get there.
You motherfucker!
No, you're not gonna. You're gonna with like 2 podcast sessions. No, you're gonna have to put 10 episodes out before I show any emotion here. How many people have you had come to this podcast and just break down in the first 5 minutes?
So many.
Yeah.
So many.
You're not getting me. I'm your challenge.
I've had people just start. I know you're something for sure. Did you say you're my white whale? Is that what you said?
Yeah. The Moby Dick or whatever.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I do. Did I read it? No, but I know of it.
It's so cute too because I saw it in your face. You thought we were going somewhere.
I know.
Like, we're almost there.
I was like, he's gonna connect with me, and he's gonna be like, Kieran, you're so cool. You should be always interviewing all the celebrities everywhere. And then this happened.
You almost got me.
I almost had you. I'll keep practicing. It's a challenge. When I drive home at the end of my set. set. I'll be like, fuck, I almost had this guy crying. Fuck, it's bullshit. And it's only 7 o'clock at night. It's not even 9 o'clock at night. Fuck. And he's laughing a lot, so I'm not funny either, as I've learned. The more he laughs, the less funny I am. So
it's true.
This thing's bullshit. Let's just call it. It's done. Fuck it. Fuck your whole album coming out.
That's the energy I want, baby. That's the energy I want. Oh man,
I hate you. You suck.
Yes. Also, this is the funniest thing about like
I didn't ask any of these, by the
way. That's the funny thing. We're gonna end with like a hey, this is when it's coming out.
I know, let's do it.
Given that my ADHD, I haven't named it yet.
Yes.
We don't have a date yet. It's an audio album and a video special. They'll be coming out on different days because the audio album will be ready before the video special is because we're still editing that.
Of course.
So everything is like classically Jeevan ADHD, where it's like, I have an exciting thing coming up, and they're like, okay, cool. Tell me when and where. I'm like, oh, actually, I haven't planned the whole thing yet. But
it's going to be wicked.
It's going to be wicked. So how about at J Gill Comedy, JGILL Comedy? Go on there. Mm-hmm. You'll see me. Mm-hmm. I'll remember to post it.
Yeah.
You'll remember to like it and click it and share it and all those nice things that help me a lot and cost you nothing and make my dreams come true. No pressure though. It's fine.
But just do it. Right?
Yeah.
Just press the button. Just do
the
it.
Button, baby.
And while you're there, just press my.
Yeah.
Just press the button, baby. I love it.
Press the button.
That's going to be my thing. Let's press the button, baby. Yeah. While you're doing that, press the button for me too.
There you go.
And you got two people that are, enjoying their. I don't know. I'm just going to tag myself on with you. I have no buttons to press. Just saying, no, do not press any. My buttons don't exist. Okay, so leave us with some lessons. Like you have had some big things happening for you in the last little bit. That things maybe you never dreamed of, or things that you hope would happen, like this album. So, what are a couple of lessons?
Not even that I never dreamed it. Like I only dreamed it for the last
all you
always
ever
dreamed of. It's weird because like
you made it happen, man.
There was a weird moment in my life where it was like I've been doing this thing and dreaming this thing for like so long, and then all of a sudden you have a date to when your dreams come true. You're like, hey, by the way, June 24th, your dream comes true.
Oh, you get to meet Justin Bieber? What?
No, like it's like oh hey, like we booked.
So weird, surreal, right?
Yeah, because like I got together with Comedy Bar, who's starting a new record label and a comedy channel. And so they had 3 specials they were going to sign, and I was one of the 3, which I'm super thankful for. And yeah, they were just like, we're working on dates, we're working on this, and we're like trying to get the deals together, trying to get whatever cameras around and all this. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, June 24th, you're ready to shoot? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then all of a sudden I'm like, my dreams come true on June 24th. And then all of a sudden you're there and you're like sitting there and you're like, oh my God, my dreams are coming true. And then you're so nervous and you're like, and then all of a sudden you're like you can't plan for when your dreams come true. They just do. And the thing about it is that you have to do all these things and work for all these years and just keep doing things, keep not trying. Mm-hmm. And one day those dreams come true, and then all you do is keep doing the thing that brought you to the day your dreams coming true, and then they do, and then the next year you keep going and keep doing the things that you did because that's what you're doing. You know what I mean? So it's like a weird moment because you almost don't get to bask in it because you have to keep doing the thing that got your dreams come true. So like you don't plan for your dreams come true, but they will sometimes, and if they won't, that's cool too, man. Like you try.
Keep trying. But like, do you feel like as you're continuing and doing this, do you feel like in any of that moment on June 24th, like, did you take a moment where you try to be present?
I think it was June 17th.
Did you cry? That's the day after my birthday. Did you cry? Like, did anything happen? Were you present? Like, did you let yourself feel anything?
I think at the end of the 2 shows, like everyone's around, people like happy and so like I tried to as much as I could. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's kind of like skydiving, to be honest. It's like a really, really slow skydive. Like you're there, but you're also working. You're like running around to be like, okay, when's the mic? Where's the camera going to be? We're seating there. Look at left and right. Lights come on. Here you go. Yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. And then, as you're doing the set, you want to make everything's going well. So you're staying within the lens and all this. So it's really hard to like appreciate it. I tried to as much as I could, but there was a week there afterwards where I was like, and because I got pictures taken during, so got those sent to me, and I got to look through them, and I was like, "Holy shit!" That's cool. Yeah.
The other thing is, it's too bad you didn't get a picture, but when they were checking your measurement, that'd be cool for you to do like a kid thing where your mom is checking your height.
Oh, yeah.
A picture like that in real life would be interesting.
We're working on a very cool album cover, actually, because I'm going to be also doing some vinyls. I'm going to produce some vinyls. That's cool. And I'm really excited for that. I am. I'm probably going to lose money on them.
Even better.
I'm probably they have
it's a true passion project. Then
true. Like I kind of just comedy vinyls were this cool classic thing in the 60s and 70s. Like everyone had them. They would put them out like Red Fox and all these like Richard Pryor, all these cool comments would have like these classic albums on vinyl. People would put them in their houses back in the day, and now like we watch comedy specials on YouTube and stuff. But just for any like hipsters out there, I'll be selling vinyls, some vintage cool things. Honestly, it's like I'm making them so I can hang one on my wall and be proud of it. But if you want to buy
I hang one on my wall for you.
There you go. I'll be
like, I know this guy.
Yeah. I don't know where I'm going to be selling them or how I'm going to be selling them, but they'll be available at some point on my Instagram. And that's just like some cool thing that I get to do.
Like just to be creative, right?
Just to be like, hey, look at that. It's me on a vinyl.
I know. Why not? It's like Saturday Night Live when the host, did you ever watch SNL? My favorite part, I kid you not, is when they show their artistic pictures in between. And like, it's always like cool. Yeah. I always find whoever's hosting that night, they always they get the best photos taken of their photographers, like really neat artsy stuff. So you have a coffee book table. Oh, yeah. Of you doing tall things for not tall people or something like random like that.
I will.
That'd be an interesting one too.
I would. I'll look into it. I will. But I'm excited about the vinyl.
That's cool. That's really exciting. Oh yeah, that's true. I'll just stop you there then. Okay, so is there anything though that you did wish we talked about that we didn't?
I don't know. Like I honestly, I don't even know exactly what we talked about. So
we talked about everything.
Everything.
Do you feel like you got to say like what you wanted to say about your album?
Yeah, I guess we didn't really talk about so much the album,
process or what.
The reason I'm here to promote.
We talked about everything but that.
What I'm here to promote. Like, good thing I don't have any agents. They'd be losing their minds right now.
I know. They'd be like, this is not coming out. These fucking professionals.
If I had a publicist, they'd be the fucking most overworked
We need to get you one. That'd be the best.
She'd jump out of a fucking building.
Not a plane with you?
Yeah. No, I'm very excited. I've worked very hard at this. I got an opportunity. I hope you like it. We're working on editing it right now. We're going to have it out. If you want to support, you can buy it on Apple iTunes, or you can request SiriusXM. If you have SiriusXM in your car or whatever, call them or email them. There's a line to like make requests and request my albums, and they'll play it, and then I'll get paid for it, which is nice. But also I'd get plays on satellite radio, and that'd be really cool. If you buy it on iTunes when it comes out, it'll shoot up the charts, and that would be super helpful for me as well. But honestly, I just hope you guys like that. I don't have any like I'm here to make people laugh, and that's the main point of what I do. So I do it in a way that it can be considered edgy, I suppose, but I don't think it is. I think it's just me making fun of things that I find funny. But I'm not trying to be edgy. I know the topics can be edgy, but I think that's where the best laughs are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just here for the giggles, man. And
there's your title.
Yeah, here for the giggles.
Just here for the giggles.
Here for the giggles, not bad.
Yeah.
All right, I'll put that one down. Did we just name the album?
We might have named it.
We just named it.
We'll see.
Jeevin Gill, here for the giggles.
Here
coming
for
out.
Yeah.
That's great. I love it.
That's so cute. Oh, Jeevan, I'm so proud of you. Aww. How did your network, your family, your people around you, like, what's the support?
I have no idea what I do. They have not a clue. We haven't talked about that at all.
What do they think you do?
They think I do. They like he does shows. They're like he does comedy, and then that's all they go. So like when I'm going out, they're like, we don't live in the same city, so they're like, hey, where are you? I'm like, I'm at a show. They're like, oh, great. And then like I had my grandparents visiting. They were staying with some other family.
Yeah.
And I was with them, and I was like, "Hey." And then my grandma was just like, he was like to the other end. He has shows. He does shows. No idea what that means. My grandma has no idea what that means. I don't think she's ever seen a video of me what I do. She has bad eyesight anyways. She doesn't speak English. So it's like, she just goes, he does shows. He does shows. They're all very proud actually of I've never had that whole thing of like somebody, like anybody coming out and be like, don't do that, you know? But they also don't pay attention to what I do. So they go like, yeah, he does comedy. And so they're like very like, he's a lawyer and a comedian. Mm-hmm. They're like, so they're happy to be like, you know what I mean? So like comedy itself, a comedian has been elevated over the last 20 years as like a profession that people probably, especially since Social Peters, and like so brown people respect it now. Yeah. You know, so they're just like, he does comedy, but they haven't. I have a story about how I lost my virginity, and a story about like my Muslim girlfriend, and all these things that
they would know.
They wouldn't know about my virginity story.
Like what? How many of our Indian fans
exactly.
Would? So like, them, where none of us have lost our virginities.
So I'm actually very nervous about when this comes out and somebody sees it, because they're gonna be like, what the fuck?
Know,
so
right?
And I haven't made a contingency plan for that. I haven't had a talk. I'm not going to sit down. I'm not planning to have a talk. I mean, but there's also a chance that no one in my family ever looks at it. You know what I mean?
What would you want to say? What would be the best thing that you could say if an auntie called you out of the blue and was like, Jeevan, right? And then she goes to tell you.
I mean, my dream as an avoidant person, as an avoidant attachment style, would be that no one that I don't want this to see sees it, and only the other 7 billion on the people on the planet.
So
there was about
none of the Gill family.
Yes, like no one there's probably like an 84 person group that I do not want to see my life's work.
Do you think they would though?
Here's the thing: they might see once again, attention spans, man. Like how many people getting people, it's a 47 minute, we're at 47 minutes right now.
Yeah.
So asking anybody to watch something for 47 minutes is a big ask these days.
I hear you.
When you don't even, most people don't know me. They're not fans. They're like, why the fuck would I watch this random guy? Mm-hmm. You know? So that's a hard enough thing as it is. Mm-hmm. So it's funny because like stand-up comedy is kind of like OnlyFans, where you put yourself out there, whether it's your material or your tits, and the people that are going to see it first are who's closest to you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
True.
Like whoever, if you put out an OnlyFans account, the people that follow your Instagram account, which is mostly your friends and family, they're going to click it first, and they're going to see your tits first before the world sees your tits. And you're probably more comfortable with the world seeing your tits,
100%,
than you are your family. And I'm much more comfortable with the world seeing my tits than my family.
That's true, right? Yeah, there's got to be a party that doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, like I shot it the way I want to shoot it.
Yeah.
The jokes I wrote, the way that I didn't hold back on anything more than anything I did, it was how I did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't change the way it is. So like my parents might see this, or like whoever might see this.
But also like who's going to relate to it? You know, so many people, not everyone, but many people have some kind of connection to losing a virginity story or dating or whatever topics you're going to cover. I'm sure you're going to cover those things, race, all those kinds of things in there that I think all of us are going to be like, thank God, thank you for talking about, and thank you for making me laugh about that, because I hate this. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to make you feel better, because I think sometimes it's funny. Like, you watch these Western shows with brown people in them, and I know I always think like, oh shit, she's like having a full on sex scene in that. What does your mom think? Like that's literally where I go to. Like, is your grandma
which
still
is not
alive?
an uncommon thought. I not only have I had I've heard other brown girls say this, but I also have friends brown girls who are friends who are actresses who've had sex scenes or whatever, and then it's like you just ask, you're like, hey, it's like, I'm just not telling my family I was in that show.
Yeah, and
it's like, if you just like tell your friends, but don't tell grandpa that I'm in that episode of Game of Thrones or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, like this is another level of things. Like, who knows? Like, it's like from where I'm sitting with the brown perspective, you're like, white people are lucky; they don't have to deal with this, which isn't true. Like, white people also have family who are like, "What the hell are you doing?" It just seems like it's only an us problem.
Yeah.
Seems like it's only an us problem because, like, oh, I come from brown culture where they're gonna be judgier, and that's not always the case. There's also this judgy culture is all over, and there's cool parents and there's not cool parents, and we'll see. Like I get hate mail for not wearing a turban all the time, where it's like, if I have a clip go viral, some guy will message and be like, hey, why aren't you wearing a turban? You can see that like you're sick and you should be wearing a turban. Blah, 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 blah. And then but there's like the late bloomer, like they got mad at him because Just Rain wears a turban and covers these topics. And they're like, he's wearing a turban and making a mockery of it because he's doing comedy while wearing a turban. It's like, you can't. Yeah. These people are going to be ridiculous anyways.
Well, and it's saddening, honestly. Like, it makes me sad when we get so stuck in that and we're, you know, like that, whoever is making the comment to you about the turban, this is very important to them and they have a lot of pride in that, and that's great. But it comes out in this fucked up way of like making you feel bad versus just go be proud about wearing your turban. Like wear it with pride and be a great person, but you don't have to throw that on to some, you know, you're obviously not wearing it for a reason.
Exactly. So
why don't we start, you know, like
it's just hilarious because it's like they usually aren't an account that has a name or a profile picture. So it's like, man, like we're not connected. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not like we met somewhere and you're like related to me or like whatever. Even then it's like, you shouldn't be doing that. But like, at least there's like we don't have a connection. You could have just scrolled past my dumb unturbaned face.
We have Indian trolls too on the internet. Look at us. Look at us.
Like, oh yeah, that's true. We're progressive now, right? We have our own fundamentals fuck ups.
Yeah, right? They're not, then it's not just because I'm fat or I'm ugly. It's because of more, you know, religious related things. Like that's perfect.
Yeah, look at
all press is good press. The fact that you had someone say that to you is like, oh great. They had to stop. Like you said, we live in a world where people are just scrolling. They had to stop and look at you. That's a compliment. You're like, thank you for coming and spending time with me.
Oh my God, you want to hear the best? I have this joke on Instagram right now that's going a little viral, which is on TikTok, sorry. It's about Indians in Canada, how there's a lot of hate for Indian people in Canada right now. And it's a good joke. There goes the insecurity. It's all right if you guys want to watch it. It's cool. But it's going semi-viral on TikTok right now. And some guy commented, that was really funny, but still get out of my country. Which is the best compliment I have ever gotten. Oh, are you kidding me? Like you hate me like on a racial level.
I'm still funny.
But joke's still funny.
And that's the most important to you.
Yes. Absolutely.
You're whatever. Call you whatever. But
whatever, man.
If he said you weren't funny, that would be the part where I think.
It would be like this. It was in a way the most genuine compliment I've ever gotten.
So sweet.
You cannot doubt. Pete, your friends will be like, oh, you were really good. They have to say that. You're your friend. Yeah. People will be like, even audience members, like they're there to have a good time.
And they paid money. They paid money.
They'll laugh. They'll clap, whatever.
Totally. Yeah.
This guy didn't come to a show. Yeah. Is sitting there in a very miserable life. Mm-hmm. I scroll past. He hates me based off the sight and the color of my skin and a prejudice that is deep.
Yeah, clearly.
But he still found the joke
funny.
Totally.
Like on your way out of my country, thanks for making me laugh. Right? You're like, hey, buddy, anytime. Let me know if I can come back.
Compliment I've ever gotten.
That is a good one.
You're never.
That should be the name of your album. You're funny, but get out.
Of my country. Oh my God.
Okay, man.
All right.
Okay, leave everybody with something. If everybody was going to only take one thing out of this whole conversation, what would you want that thing to be?
Listen to my stuff, man. Listen to my album, listen to my special, watch my special when it comes out.
And where can we watch your special when it comes out? Tell us again.
Just go to my Instagram page.
That's the best place because we don't really know.
We don't really know. I'm not going to plan to stay planning it. It's going to be on YouTube. So at some point you can type in Jeevin Gill on YouTube. It'll come up.
It's going to be good.
But what is it going to be called? I don't know.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned.
You should call it that. What's
J Gill Comedy. JGILL Comedy. On all platforms, whatever you want to do.
And we will have it in our show notes too.
Thank you.
We'll post it. Thank you for coming and hanging out. I'm looking forward to seeing you at your job this weekend. Yeah, that's so exciting. Tomorrow or the next day? I think it's the next day.
I think it's tomorrow, but whatever.
Either way, I'm free. I don't have anything going on a Friday or Saturday night. So I could come both nights.
Yeah, you can if you want to.
And I can give you show notes and be like, perfect. The other night you kind of from this angle, I could be that guy.
Oh yeah, I do really well with chocolate chips.
Do you just love feedback?
Yeah, I love it. That's great.
So good, right?
It's the best.
It is good. It makes us grow, right?
Yeah.
So good for us.
Oh, so good for my soul. I love hearing it. Especially from people that have never done comedy. That's like the best people to give to you.
Right? Yeah. The ones that don't know. I would be so good at giving notes then for comedians. There you go. Let me help you. I'll bring my pen and paper. To everyone else listening, thank you for coming hanging out with us. These conversations are door openers. If you like what you heard, if you want to add to this conversation, you know where to find us. Thanks again, Jeevan, for hanging out with us.
Bye-bye.